And just like that, yet another e-ticket event has come upon us. Ladies and gentlemen, to all that are watching from around, we say hello, we say welcome to Countdown to Green. Now, a little bit of a slower version of that, or should I say a quicker, because of the Cup race at Dover that was earlier today that ran just a little bit long. I'm John Ramos alongside Jarrett Lumberg. The Sim World is back alive for the 31st e-ticket event. Welcome to the Hoosier 400. First time we've had Cup cars at Indianapolis. We got to go all the way back to 2022. From there, we took a hiatus. We went IndyCar racing at Indianapolis, and now a return of the e-ticket. First time in next gen will be at Indianapolis. New cameras, great stars, all ready to go green with you all.
I'm excited. I mean, last time we raced at Indianapolis, I didn't get to call the finish, so I'm excited to see this thing play out tonight. You know, there's going to be a lot of challenges, whether it be strategy, whether it be how easy or difficult it is to pass, but these drivers are up for it. They've been testing for a good long while at this point, and I think they'll probably have a pretty good show tonight.
Now, the good thing is, for the ones that don't know, yes, we did push back Countdown to Green. That doesn't mean we pushed back the start time. This is an opportunity for the drivers that were watching the race at Dover to make the pre-race drivers meeting. Also, Jarrett had a pre-race show. For the ones that have come on over, we say hello and welcome. So let's get into all the information. Indianapolis is going to be quick. It's going to be fast. 400 miles, 160 laps, two big turns on both ends of the speedway with the short chute in between. The big thing tonight, it's going to be about how those tires fall off. It gets consistent towards the end, but it can fall at any moment. Also, aero push has been a big talking point. That turn 2 wall has met so many drivers in speed weeks. It has been a big hassle. And who's going to win? Oh, I think we should get into that with the limited amount of time. Jarrett, who's the underdog?
We're getting right into it tonight, man. Well, you know, we were looking at a lot of people with speed, and I have to admit, and maybe this is not the greatest way to choose, but sometimes I like to choose my underdogs also by what cars I think look really, really good. And there was speed, there was a good look, and I think this good-looking car with some speed could be up at the front tonight. Contreras in that 92. I think he's going to be up front. Skittles. Just saying.
That's a throwback to Kyle Busch's win, if I'm not mistaken, from 2015. Great looking scheme. And Elidom is one of those designers that design multiple paint schemes. Him, Andres Vadas, Chase Kroll, they are the reason why these paint schemes pop. Watch anyone else, and then watch an e-ticket. What's the difference? The quality of those schemes. With that being said, the underdog gets a little bit interesting. The entry list was posted earlier today on Instagram as well on X. If you look at the entry list, there's only 4 rookies in this field. Everyone else is a veteran. Give me a rookie, and Jeff Acevedo to possibly play a big role tonight. Maybe saying, who is that? Within the last 2 weeks, he has popped up and showed up in the top 10 nearly every single race he has been in. His outstanding performance at Atlanta a couple weeks ago and at our Night in America slots him in his first ever attempt at an e-ticket.
And I've seen him in just about all the tests that I've been witnessing so far in this, so he is locked in. Somebody else who I think is locked in is the guy who I have as my number 4 pick tonight. He's had some trouble this year. Let's be honest, John, it has not been a good year for him so far, but if anyone can get out of a slump, it is Braden Movick. I think he is somebody that he's going to show speed, but can he stay out of trouble?
And we've been talking about the get out of trouble thing for him for quite some time. And the interesting thing about him is it was him versus Mose, who was going to be the first one to 3 after Mosteller won Alabama and then won Indiana. You look at it, and clearly the greatest of all time in NR is Daniel Mosteller. But can Braden Movick get back on his horse? Can he get 3 before NWP? It's going to be tough to see. I think someone that could stop him could be that of Aiden Walker in 93. The driver from Knoxville, Tennessee, makes a maiden voyage once again in a brand new paint scheme. This car, this driver, has been strong at our night, but not in e-tickets. That could change this afternoon.
Well, somebody that it could change for a fortune that we may have never seen before for his level. This guy has come up in all our conversations talking about who's fast. He's top 10 in speed in just about every practice session or test session that we have. Lord knows you're not going to miss him out there. Sean Rowe in that 99. Put that car on screen. I can close my eyes and I can still see that car. And you're going to see it up at the front a lot in this race tonight.
We have hounded drivers for bright paint schemes. They showed up, showed out, and a lot of them should carry over to the NWP 400 to make that e-ticket down row.
That one will.
Oh,
that for sure.
And it looks really good. How about this one, in my opinion? He's raced in NR a lot. He's won multiple times. You get him out in front of the B car, aka the Xfinity Series model. It's going to be tough to catch him at a track like Kansas or Homestead. Dylan Basin, first-time e-ticket winner. Very much possible. Roll Tide in that number 11 is shown on the left side of your screen. For the ones that are wondering, we're going to break the fourth wall. Yes, his file did corrupt. So we took the thumbnail and we said, Dylan Basin, it is. I think he's going to be very strong.
Yeah, pop that thing back up again, John. I want to see on this end.
I think this
That's my number 2 pick.
There it is.
That's my number 2 pick. Because, yeah, I mean, we're looking at the test session, at the practice session before the race, and look where he is, John.
Yeah.
Look where he is.
I know. Ooh, do we share it? Do we share where he is right now? He's number 2. So someone is number 1. That's a little interesting. With that being said, I say Braden Movick is going to be one tough nut to crack. And there's something about Movick being number 2. He's a big fan of winning. He's not the greatest person that finishes second. He's not a good bridesmaid. He's not a great, I'm just going to say, loser. He loves to win. So he's going to a track that he is very good at, and he understands probably better than anyone else. He's going to be one to watch.
He very much is. And you know what? He needs to try and keep pace when it comes to the amount of e-ticket wins that are on that all-time list heading into NWP in a few weeks. But I'm going to be chalk on this one. You got to go with the guy who's the hot hand. You got to go with the guy who is the best at it. It wouldn't be these predictions if we didn't talk about Demos winning one of these things. It wouldn't. I mean, what else do we say? I mean, I can fluff and puff and say all of these huffing and puffing things about him. His record speaks for itself.
4 e-tickets, more maybe on the way. I mean, we thought 3 was impossible, and after he broke 3, we went, woof, this may be a while until we see 4. A month later.
That glass ceiling is a long, distant memory at this point, and now it's just to see how far can he go.
It is. So, with that being said, you may be saying, John, who do you think is going to go to victory lane? No, it's not Demos. No, it's not Movick. No, it's not Basin. Maybe saying maybe Abraham Vila. Not going to happen as well. Underdog and Austin or Crawl, not the chance. Because, you see, Moss Zeller won 2 e-tickets this year.
Yeah.
One was the Super Speedway. The other one was with Open Wheel. Who's the driver that's won an e-ticket this year in the next gen? Who's a driver that won an e-ticket this year where unpredictability set in? Who's a driver that is poised to be one of the greatest that has ever found this community? I say Van Drugman in his brand new paint scheme designed by Lane Sanders brings that body armor blue number 12 to victory lane.
And you know what? Every time we see him, the guy has speed. We see it on our end, the speed he's showing right now, too. I mean, he's just been on it ever since he got here. He hit the ground running and has basically just been like speed racer through this community.
Yeah, he is top of the board in practice with just a couple seconds remaining. If you're just tuning on in, no, we're not missing a beat. We started a little later on the broadcast side. We are taking the green flag on time. All the segments we were going to add and count down to green aren't out the door, Jarrett. We got 400 miles to talk about what we could see, what we might not see. And with that being said, let's head trackside from Indianapolis, Indiana. Another fun fact here for the ones that are wondering, Indianapolis is the only track since Daytona to have 2 events back-to-back. If you think about it,
in the same
first
year.
e-ticket, Dynaco 400, then the Florida 500. We had the Indiana 500, and now we have the Hoosier 500.
And maybe another great brand new tradition that we bring to this community. After all, Indianapolis has been very kind to this community when it comes to great races, great finishes, all of that. Cars rolling out now for qualifying. So, I don't know, man. I think we could see somebody we're not even talking about just come up here and take a bite out of the favorites.
I want to also point out, yes, entry list is currently on the IDK Player X account as well as the Instagram. So if you want to see the entry list before we go ahead and take the green flag, you can. Nonetheless, we'll have our starting lineup ready to go as we do. Drivers rolling around the racetrack. Fastest lap time will be on the left side of your screen. Derek Shaver, Frank Corley is back as well in that number 22. A couple throwbacks here. You're going to see them as time goes on. But nonetheless, for all of our e-ticket fans, our family, everyone watching back at home, the 32nd e-ticket event is headed back to the World Center of Racing in the NWP 400.
Yeah, there is a lot going into this year when it comes to the format, when it comes into the main event, when it comes into who's going to be in it. And if you like a lot of the schemes here, and some of them we haven't shown you just yet that might be on the cutting room floor ready to go, just needing to be put in the next one. If there's any you really like tonight that stick out, let us know, because these guys might run these same ones in that event if they're popular enough.
And think about it, with the NWP 400, there's really no middle ground. Either you're absolutely a legend on the iRacing side or you're an underdog. That's where we did show Finnegan Myers. If he finishes today, he's headed to the duels.
And on top of that, it's the only e-ticket that's winner-take-all when it comes to the winnings of it, whatever that is.
Here, I hate to cut you off just out of nowhere. Braden Mubick will not be qualifying. He will start from the tail longest line. He has the flu.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he's throwing up as we speak. That's not a joke, just got the message on my end. So, something to note. Maybe an e-ticket event win with... I don't want to go ahead and... People are probably eating dinner right now. Let's stop.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's just say that maybe we can see the Mubick flu race, if you will.
Indeed. Once again, 43 drivers on the entry list. We'll continue to monitor as things go on. Van Drugman, there's his 12. He was fastest in practice. Is it enough for top of the board? Needs to beat a 51.3, and yes, he does.
Yeah, I mean, he's up top. Myers, we talked about a little bit, was up there. Rowe, look at that, top 3 as we speak. Gavin Austin, that Wendy's machine running out there. And John, I'm on a diet right now, and you showed me Whataburger on screen. Riker Beyer with the most patriotic scheme in the history of iRacing. And now I'm just wanting a cheeseburger.
Yeah, there's just something about that West Texas driver. And he's a real cowboy, too. You know, some people get called a cowboy. No, that is a real rancher.
The Dale Earnhardt final win throwback. This one for sure has to be run at a super speedway, but this week it's looking bad fast as well. Let's see what Kenny Reel can do this lap. 24th on the board right now.
And we know some don't forget about the tailgate 400. Roll Tide is back.
Roll Tide!
Now, some are Alabama fans, some are not. Dylan Basin, he's either really well-loved or really not. So we said, Basin, you might as well play both worlds in the SEC.
And you know what? Right now he's kind of fitting Alabama. Good enough, but not good enough to be at the top of the board. Can he get there?
AP top 25 right now says 8th. Does he improve? I think not.
That might not be Saban era Alabama.
Drew Jua is back on good behavior. He's continuing to roll around. The Starbucks machine works its way into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, needs a little more speed out of that one as well. We'll see what he can do on this lap. I don't know if we've seen anyone really pick up too much on their second lap compared to any others that run now.
Now, this is 194 without any draft. Remember, there's a lot of drag here in the next gens, even with that smaller spoiler. You're going to see upwards of 200 miles per hour when they do run single file. Arrow push. It's going to be a big talking point through turns 2 and turns 4. That outside wall has been clobbered more times than not through all the test sessions we've had the last couple of weeks. It would not surprise me if we have an incident on both ends of those corners.
Well, and we've seen, we're going past the front stretch as Jua jumps up to 12th. There's Nathan Dew and the Dew, or maybe just the full Dew machine. But in that front stretch, something you got to notice too, it's a tunnel. Yeah. It is just a very, very narrow track. And we saw that be an issue in the Indiana 500. Now we have cars that are twice the size of those racing through there. And you might not see it in the normal Brickyard 400, but you see it a lot come into play at the end of these races.
And it's going to be interesting to notice. We got 160 laps, 400 miles underway. It's a Sunday night prime time e-ticket event. I can't even remember the last time we've had a stream on a Sunday night. It's been that long.
And we might have spoke too soon on if it was Saban-era Alabama. Basin is the pole sitter in that Alabama machine. Right next to Drugman 11 and 12, front row.
All right. Left side of your screen, you see the top 20 as of this moment for all the Enter Night viewers. Yes, we do have area tomorrow night. That will be at Auto Club Speedway. Final race before the Final Four. Everyone else keeping an eye on the e-tickets. What's the schedule for the duels, if I'm not mistaken, for the NWP 400? I believe August 12th we take the green flag. That's
Tuesday, August 12th. It's really be fun because based on what I know right now, I might be flying in to do that. Yeah. So that's going to be a lot of fun, even though I live here. Quick turnaround trip. But yes, we're going to be doing duels 2 50-lap duels like we do each year. Before that, we have Fast Four qualifying to see who can just get in and rest basically for the night. And then after that, we end out like we always do, John, a winner-take-all LCQ 20 laps. I mean, it's going to be drama-filled. And then, have we told them yet when the main event will be?
It's going to be another Sunday night prime time.
Sunday. I believe that's the 17th, if I remember correct.
Sunday the 17th. And look at this grid. Every single car just standing out. I almost wanted to interrupt you for a moment because when we had that shot showing pit road and the flag stand, Van Drugman's 12 is bright blue. Mason's car is bright red. If these are the two to tango with after 400 miles, get ready for a YouTube short because it's going to be insane.
I mean, I'm looking through the field and I see the Hardy Star. I see a Monster. So, I mean, like, if they're not bright, they have big logos that you can see. I mean, it's the best way to do a modern throwback to 90s NASCAR in a lot of ways.
Indeed. You know what? While we got the opportunity, let's go ahead and tell you that starting lineup where things can get bold in a hurry. Once again, want to say thank you to everybody that has tuned in so far tonight. You're getting ready to watch the Hoosier 400 live on the IDK Player YouTube channel. Starting grid, left side of your screen. Dylan Basin and Van Drugman will be leading us to green.
Wilkerson and Myers right behind them. And I got to say, that 43 reminiscent to the old Bobby Labonte cars.
Indeed. How about Aiden Walker? That scheme in the 93 on the inside has the brightest car on track to his right wing in Sean Rowe.
Poorly in that Fireball machine's going to be right next to the born on date 05 Budweiser car of Garza.
Adam Garza is going to be fun to see. How about Abraham Vila and Jacob Malone? They make up row number 5.
You know, looking at row number 6, Bomar is doing the do up there in that light blue machine right next to Drew Jua in his return.
Daniel Mosteller and Trevor Huff make up row number 7. Huff running in the Dutch Bros 55.
Then you got Contreras in that Skittles machine next to Yaroslav Donskoy. Look at that Scooby-Doo Cartoon Network machine.
Same scheme from the Florida 500. Carlos Truther in 54. Big Ty Gibbs fan to his right. That's Spencer Burns in the 06.
Shaver fitting right in that DHL machine, and also Trevino in the 80.
Always great to see those drivers come racing with us. Jackson Byes is back after nearly winning an e-ticket event here a couple months ago. That's Dominic Barbagallo in the tie-dye 17.
On row 12, sir, this is a Wendy's. That is Gavin Austin in that car, and Gomez in that 19 right above him.
Oh, row 13. How about Riker Byram and Andres Valdez? Valdez won in that 24. He designed that bright Raptor scheme. He's ready to go green.
And then in row 14 is my wife's favorite scheme, Delgado in that Sabrina Carpenter. I believe that's the Espresso car right next to Jeff Perchatsky. I swear no one's going to let me forget that I know what that is.
Jeff Perchatsky and Delgado, great friends in row 14. Row 15, it's all Chase Kroll and Kenny Reel. Reel ready to see if he can reel in a win.
Getting outside the top 30 now, Steinmeier and Joyner have a long way to go from row 16.
Row 17, it is, if I'm not mistaken, Zayden Cortinez with Jaden Hall.
Shoot your shot with the silver bullet in row 18 right next to Zola in that 52 machine.
And Brother Baker hanging out with us. Jeff Acevedo in the 37th position. He's alongside Mitchell Armstrong.
And of course, we talked about earlier, you got McKinney in row 20 next to Mr. Possible Flu Race, Braden Movick.
And then making up the 41 drivers, that of Nathan Dew. Strong field ahead. Some of them said, ooh, man, that's a really strong field. This may be a strategy race, and we're getting ready to go green this time by. Strategy's always big at Indianapolis, even since the 2010s with the car. Tomorrow, what to watch tonight? Fuel and tires. The tire wear is a little unpredictable at about 10 or 15 laps. The fuel itself, it's always going to be fun to see because they can save here 32 to 40 laps on that fuel window.
Well, and that's going to be really key, too, because the thing that I heard a lot from people, whether I was looking in Twitter chats, whether I was listening on Discord, when they looked at this field was, wow, there's no weapons in this field, as they put it. There's no one who's just going to go and nuke half of the guys running in the back or half of the guys up front. And because of that, because of how good this field is, we could see a long, stretched-out green flag run. And I don't know about you, John, but these events at their best are when these guys might not know if they can make it to the end.
Gonna be fun to see. YouTube has added top fans to the chat. The one that is the most active, the top 3 that are the most active in the live chat, will get a shout out at the end of this e-ticket event. How about a race from on track to also in the grandstands or in down below? The Hoosier 400 is ready to take place, 160 laps. Let's get ready to do it just one more time from Indiana as we light the fuse. Problems early on. Dylan Bason's on pit road. We saw him blink coming off turn 4. He's headed to the pits.
Hands the front row to Wilkerson and possibly the lead. Drugman going to battle up top 2 by 2 all the way through the field as they enter 2.
And already drama takes place before one driver doesn't make it to the yard of bricks. It's the Ford on the outside of Van Drugman that will just try to inch away. Swipes the nose of Jacob Wilkerson. They fall in line. The rest of the field hurdles down the back straightaway.
Breakout star leads the field for this year, Drugman, and it's pretty orderly for the most part entering 3.
Top 3, top 4 single filed out. Finnegan Myers, get ready to learn this name. Has been a long-time driver in NR Night in America, but his paint schemes never popped out. He never put himself out there to become an e-ticket driver. Announced that he hit 6,000 iRating, was competing in the top 10 as of late. This is his first start. He plans on not leaving the top 5 as Drugman leads lap 1.
First one out of line was Garza. Now they're singled out through about the top 10. Pretty evenly spaced. First battle for position looks like between Bomar and Malone. That's for 9th.
You see Frank Corley, he's back since the 4 to 500. Malone on the outside lane. He slots in behind the Abraham Vila machine. Underneath is the 20 of James Bomar. Drew Jua has cracked the top 11 as Mosteller and others still jostle for position.
Now they kind of single it out. You have to be orderly through these corners. Very difficult to carry speed and be side by side. We follow Mosteller running just inside the top 12, but he is all under fire from Contreras and that Skittles machine.
And what's really cool about Indianapolis, there could be no battles in the top 15, which gives us an opportunity to watch deeper in the field. This is Zayden Cortines. He's back in the 30th position. Behind him, Jeff Acevedo. That looks to be Jaden Hall. It is a frenzy deep in the field with Braden Mubik.
Yeah, and you might not recognize Mubik this week. He's now in the Dr. Pepper machine there in that 42, just battling not only the field, but also his own body at this point.
And he's back there with the 2 of Gavin Austin, who actually just came from Europe. He drops to the inside part of the racetrack. Some type of issue, at least hurdling the machine. Deeper on, Mitchell Armstrong, Nathan Dew. They're all just trying to log laps as up front. It is still single file with no big change.
No big change just yet up front. About 6/10 and growing is the lead for Van Drugman. Really the battle here is 7th, and this is something you'll see at this track a lot, is that somebody, because of the aero, because of everything like that, will hold up the field. You're seeing now battle for roughly the 19th, 20th position there. Jackson Bice and also Gomez looking low. Keeps it side by side, exiting 1.
Yeah, Gomez should have an advantage into turn 2 if he can get the Xfinity 19 to stick. He went to the race that Carl Edwards won at Richmond Raceway way back, I believe, in either 2015 or 2016.
2016, the bump and run against Kyle Busch.
He went to that race as one of his favorite paint schemes, and he consistently runs it from one e-ticket to the next. I said he should have had the advantage on buys. He somehow lost a couple positions after getting loose on the inside.
Yeah, he is now back to the 20th position, again under fire from a lot. And again, you're going to see this where guys hold a bunch of drivers up, and it's almost like, obviously way different type of racing, but it's almost like a Martinsville or an old school Bristol where once you're stuck out of that line, you could get freight trained by 10 different cars.
Next gen at Indianapolis, it is a fight for multiple drivers to figure it out. This is James Bomar, he's in 10th. A lot of these guys are tiptoeing through turn 2, and you can kind of hear it from how much they're back on the throttle just because of the aero push. Now Bomar's going to take full advantage on Malone to the inside, and by full I mean maybe half. Unless he can just fully commit to turn 3, I think he may be able to do it.
Well, one part is that you can try and just keep the nose there so they can't clear you. That affects, in a lot of ways, their entry, exit of the corners. And then you see a near pass. Can't make it happen this time, and they might get taken advantage of. There is the 38 of Jua looking to get in the top 10.
You saw how Bomar's car just started pushing wide. Remember, these are now on somewhat fresh tires, about 5 laps in, give or take, as James Bomar does blink. once, maybe twice. There's Mosteller. He has not moved from 11th.
Well, no, he's up to 11 now because you saw those 3 cars got hooked up together, and that's the draft effect that works at Indianapolis. These long straightaways open up the door for that draft to be so powerful when they get all hooked up.
You'll see it here. He's going to be, we believe, upwards of 200 miles per hour in the draft. 197, woes out of it, and that's more of a conservative route. He had maybe in or around an extra 200, 150 feet to play with. Abraham Vila getting very close to the outside retaining wall. Nothing has changed for Van Drugman. He has nearly an 8/10 lead.
Yeah, and these top 3, 4 so back, they're really starting to spread out. You're starting to get these pockets where might be a car here, car there, maybe a pocket now for 4th with Myers, Garza, and Rowe. But through the pack, you're going to see if somebody slips up, and then that's when the moves will be made.
Let's check in on Dylan Basin. Here he is in the 40th position. Carlos Struther 1 lap down, just behind him alone. There has been issues with some drivers in their PCs not being able to take the tracks that got an oval refresh. Now, some of those tracks are Kansas, Las Vegas, in Waze Homestead, Miami Speedway. Indianapolis did get an oval refresh. You can see the banners that are now laid down towards turns 1 and 2 as a part of the getting those grandstands out for viewing. This has actually hurt some of the drivers on performance for their PCs. Now, we know the next gens are really case in point, the highest poly model on iRacing. What we mean by that, the detail is so high, some PCs, let alone laptops, cannot control the frame rate. So when you go to a new refreshed racetrack like Indianapolis, it becomes harder on the drivers. In this case, 1 being the 11.
Yeah, and you're going to see this happen probably through the night, especially as there's more and more strain on them. But through the field, I mean, you're seeing it now. It's classic Indianapolis throughout. Not much movement, at least early. But you might see it as it goes later into the run and more strategies, passing, things like that. You're seeing it back here for sure.
Yeah, this is for 34th, 35th, and 36th. We saw them actually tangoing off turn number 2. Xander McKinney, he's 32nd. Zayden Cortinez, he's 33rd. Gavin Austin is blinking in the 34th position. And here's another thing. Gavin has not been on his PC till today. There has been a driver update on the video within the last couple of weeks. We know that because when I went to go broadcast area, we had to delay the start of it because of the driver update. Wouldn't be surprised if that's an issue.
And you're already seeing some blinking issues as well. No issues at the front, though. Top 3 have stayed the same pretty much since the start. Now, Garza has moved up to 4th past Myers, so movement in the top 5. The top 3 holding steady.
You're watching the 31st e-ticket event. Here's Drew Jua on track back in the 10th position. Well, I want to go for the lap for lap here in just a moment on Jacob Wilkerson just to see if he's been able to make up any ground. The way Van Drugman kind of just shot out of the gate was, I wouldn't say odd, but it was interesting because when we go here with the Xfinity car, which is now the most commonly used stock car we take to Indianapolis and our night in America, the leader will set pace. And by setting pace, it will be in or around 3 or 4 tenths. And then once the tires advantage moves to themselves, they'll run away at about 4 or 5 seconds. Van Drugman trying to get to a full second advantage, and you're starting to see on the lap for lap, at least on the bottom of your screen, Wilkerson has not fully allowed him to get back over the 9/10 range.
Yeah, it's about a 10th or so back and forth seesawing between the two. You see the entrance of the corner definitely goes to the 43, but the exit and on these long straightaways goes to Drugman, and that's where I think he's making a lot of that speed up.
The game of inches, modern day stock car racing, if you can gain an advantage of an inch or 2, you're going to make up a couple tenths as time goes on. Back in the day, it was all about how much horsepower you can get in the machine. And now with how things are restricted, where can you find that tenth or 2? That's why these drivers are required and actually requested an extra hour of practice every single day. They're trying to find just that little smidge of an advantage because if we get a restart, if track position plays into a run, that means strategy will play in. And during that final practice, consistently saw drivers trying to make advantages where? On pit road.
Yeah, I mean, the entrance to pit road is going to be so crucial under the green flag stops. I mean, it's not at this point like a lot of e-tickets where we're saying, oh, if they pit under green. It's kind of when they pit under green. because this is such a talented field. You're already seeing how spread out they're starting to get. You're gonna have to get those tenths somewhere, so it's gonna have to be on the entrance. And you're seeing the lead now, talking about tenths, a few more have been added to that lead.
Yeah, so when you're a viewer watching back at home, you may be saying, okay, it's like a seesaw, right? In and out of that 9/10 range, 7/10 range. Jacob Wilkerson is fighting every second of every lap just to get some type of advantage, and in most cases, hoping for Van Drongman to make a mistake. Frank Horley is back, is in 7th, has won one NR Night in America race on a non-super speedway. I believe that came from Las Vegas in the Xfinity Series. Mostly a super speedway guy, running up inside the top 10 very early. Big news for Team T. And here's Abraham Vila. He's been chasing an e-ticket for years. Some are questioning if he'll ever get one. I think back to the Florida 500 on, we thought he wasn't going to make the event and then won the LCQ.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities still coming for him, and I think while he's running well here, he's definitely circled next month for sure. But you can say that about a lot of people in this field. It is hard to win one of these events, let alone a bunch of them like we've seen other people do.
Some drivers choosing the unconventional lane. James Bomar, you saw how wide he was into turn 1. Advantage, Eladon Contreras, can you get it to work?
It's just, once you're so pinched there on the bottom, you're not able to really make that move as long as they have it somewhat closed up, and then he had to roll out of it in front of him. So I think that was the issue there. He's got about a car length or so. You can definitely see he's trying to hook it down on the bottom, get that advantage there, but Bomar getting just enough of a run off the corner to stay ahead of him.
Left side of your screen, you'll see the intervals change from the top 20 to then the 41 drivers making circulations around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You heard the Eladon Contreras 92's engine make that little stutter. For the ones that don't know, yes, they're shifting. This is a sequential shifting car, so you can shift here at Indianapolis. Most are getting down to that 4th gear. I believe Eladon's doing the same. And once they get down that long back straightaway, you'll hear them go up into that 5th gear. Let's hear it one more time if he does do it. There it is.
Yep. Now I noticed down on the ticker as well as it was going through the field, Gavin Austin for a moment in the pits, it said. Again, having more of those issues that he had earlier and that maybe blinking, that is going to be something to watch through the night. And it's not as much maybe for tonight. Again, this is for NWP 400 and future e-tickets as it goes. Some people just, their systems can't handle what others can.
And I believe it said a pit as a misfire, as in he wasn't showing any data, so they automatically put pit road. But he's back here fighting with Xander McKinney. And it just shows how loose his race car was into turn 3. A lot of these drivers, when they did the testing, it was towards the later hours of testing. So the sun and the shadows were mostly covering the front straightaway. Where was most of the passes happening? Towards the end of practice and into turn 1, where there's a little more grip and your car isn't sliding as much. We're going to keep that all in mind as the laps go down, because that sun's going to go behind the grandstands. You're going to see those long shadows on the front straightaway. That may be the difference between mistake or not. Speaking of mistake, you saw the hit for the outside of the 20.
Yeah, there were a couple of people that were getting up into the wall and just having it on the razor's edge. I want to point out somebody else a little further back in the pack. We talked about Mubik earlier. He's up to the 28th spot from the last place starting position. So he's been able to make a few passes happen throughout. But outside of him, it's been pretty difficult going so far. But we just completely missed it, I think. Garza up to the 3rd position past Walker in that 8 car, making up moves up towards the front.
Yeah, so the cool thing about Indy, since there isn't a lot of jostling, right, with it being multi-groove racing, when you see a move for position, we can kind of cover it. Here's Adam Garza in his 8 machine. I don't believe this is the same one he's going to be running for NWP, but going over to the Budweiser colors for this event was passed by, passed Aiden Walker. And Walker has history of doing well here, but he also has he also has kind of issue of making mistakes, including in the early portions of races at Indianapolis.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of drivers that, again, they have that speed, but getting their own way of it. That's going to be one of those crucial keys of this race. There's Sean Rowe, there's Frank Horley, both of them solid starts to this race in these opening 20 laps or so.
Frank Horley, the highest running team member. His teammates are running 40th, 41st, and I believe Gavin Gomez may be back there as well. Gomez running in that number 19 machine.
I'm just watching Contreras back there. He has been hounding Bomar now for a good 5 or so laps. Every time he's like just close enough to make that move. Not enough momentum to make it happen. He just keeps getting stuck behind that 20.
Let's see it again. We know James Bomar's car, ill handling, how the back half of the machine has been sliding in and out.
Again, he has enough of a run to get to his bumper, not enough to really work past him.
I've been watching the intervals of the top 2, at least as of recent. We'll get to that in a moment because how about this?
Whoa.
Jacob Malone.
3 wide. Entering into turn 1. Donskoy on the high side, going to clear them both with that momentum.
Donskoy clears. Burns back in the 16th position. And Zachary Trevino will hold on from 17th.
You're seeing he's wanting to make that move, but it depends where you make it to. If somebody else does, they're the 45, gets drafted right past, and now he's all the way to the back of that group.
Now Trevino has been able to work. Same with Jackson Buys back to 17th. We want to give a big shout out to everybody watching back at home. We're going to be shouting out our top 5 viewers in the chat. So a race on your screen, a race in the live chat. Kenny Real currently 5th active, Van Drungman, Jags B. Jaggin, Mikey Duchette, and Harvick to win. Those are the top 5 most active in the live chat. We're very grateful for you. If you continue to chat it up, you'll get XP, and from there, you can be a top man.
Loose.
Hold on to it, Spencer Burns.
Oh man, he almost lost it, but he kept it going. There goes that 80 machine right on past him. Burns going to fall out of the top 15 with Trevino going by him, but it could have been much worse than just losing 2 spots.
And we'll slot back in line behind Jackson Buys is 33.
Well, how frustrating that has to be when you're making up those spots and then just a mistake, something happens, and they go all right on by. I mean, I'm watching the replay on our end, and he should have wrecked that thing. He wrecked, but he didn't.
Unfortunate for him, we didn't see him a lot in testing. He did show up with his paint scheme. But this is just a product of what happens if you don't get as many laps compared to others.
Hey, we said big and bold, and his scheme is big and bold. I like it.
Here's Chase Crawl back in 24th. He's behind the Riker Byram 98. Braden Mubick in the 27th position. So we're getting to around 20 laps to go on this run. I think back to the first Hoosier 400, codenamed before the 2007 Brickyard 400. A lot of drivers short pit very, very early because they just could not go the distance or they wanted to try a strategy run. We're not going to ignore it. This is a track position race, at least as of early. Do you come to pit road, get the fresh tires, and maybe, just maybe, hope for others to make a mistake to capitalize?
Well, this is looking clean and green to start out with. Now, that can change with those entrances into the pit. Someone tries too much, big crash, something could happen there. But right now, I feel like if you are sort of in that middle back of the pack, take a shot. Pit early. Try and gain some time with those fresher tires or something like that. If you're somebody, I'd say within, I don't know, probably 15, 16 seconds maybe. Maybe that top 31, maybe closer to maybe the top 20. It might be better to wait, see if caution comes out, play strategies later as it goes. Preserve your position as it is in the moment.
I believe the biggest mover is that of Braden Mubick. There he is in the 27th position. And one thing that he talked to me about was, don't be surprised if we don't have a lot of cautions, and here's why. You think
almost another one, but didn't happen.
I think Jeff Prochaski wanted me to stop talking there.
It took my breath away for a second. That'll get Mubick, I think, up into the top 25 now as they cross the line.
Picks up 2. Look back to 2022, the month of May. 2007 Brickyard 400, we didn't have a caution into about the lap 90 range. And some, to this day, consider that a caution that probably shouldn't have happened. Very controversial. That race could have ran green all the way through. Some are considering this to possibly be what that race probably should have been, a caution-free race that is a perfect slate for some of these guys, unheard of. For others, may not be likely because it takes one mistake for someone in an admin to hit the yellow and you rack, stack, and go again. But with that being the case of the old Gen 4 ARCA car, which was lower horsepower, the cars didn't stick too well, keep it all in mind. Who dominated the first half of that race? Spencer Burns. What was he driving? The number 2 Who's dominating this one early? Van Drugman in the number 12.
A bit of a good fortune for Penske at Indianapolis, kind of fitting there. I'll say, too, I'm not going to speak too early on it because we've said this before.
Yep.
Where the race looks green and all of a sudden we get a rash of yellows, especially with how much they're stepping out and getting snappy loose out of the corners. But, I mean, you're seeing how spread out it's starting to get. If there's an issue and one or two cars crashes down into the grass out of the way, it's not necessarily a caution either.
Yeah, and we know in some leagues, right, that would be considered a yellow. In NO Night in America and e-ticket events, if it's off the racing surface, it's not going to affect anybody. We will ignore it. James Beaumont, we saw him got passed by Contreras. Now Hoff, he's going to be an early taker with 137 to go.
Giving it a shot. And again, somebody trying something different, maybe, especially if others are staying out, say another, what would you say, John, 10, 15 laps? Maybe you can gain a little bit of position on racetrack from that.
We saw heavy, and I mean seriously heavy damage to the Kenny Reel 3 machine. Look at the nose.
Oh, man, it is caved in the front of that car, and that's not going to help in any way his performance there. I mean, you're seeing the difference.
Way up out of the groove. This may have been as of recent. Let's check back. Yes, it was. There's Jaden Hall, 74. Pow, into the outside wall.
That's what we talked about, those single car incidents out of the way. It's not going to be a caution.
And tore up the right side of that 74. Kenny Reel, a Hoosier at heart. And for Jaden Hall, with it being so deep in the field, it will not be a yellow.
So now you see that 20 machine. That is Bomar coming out of the pits. He'll be a lap down, but up with the leader. So let's see if those tires might be able to make some kind of difference. He's going to probably cycle out behind, I'd say probably behind Rowe, maybe behind Horley and Vila. So he'd be about the 9th car on the racetrack, maybe the 8th car. And if that happens, let's see if he can make some passes and make up real time, because that could really influence what different guys choose to do.
About half a second between the top two. We heard from the admins. We know the live chat saying, oh, that wasn't a caution. I know you just kind of explained it. They're saying, okay, 2-car incidents along green flag runs. If it is going to affect oncoming traffic, they will throw it. In that case, more or less, there wasn't really oncoming traffic. They're not going to worry about it.
No, and that's been how these events have been run really since these kind of events have been run. I mean, that's really how it's been.
The technical side of the e-tickets. We've had a couple technical e-tickets this year, and we've had a hold it wide open and hope it doesn't end up in the catch fence e-tickets. The earliest one this year was Le Mans.
Yeah, I mean, that was one that I believe we only got, what, one caution in that one? And ran that timed race all the way through. Another battle, I believe that's Muvik in that 42 making up another spot. That 45 machine of Malone, that Toyota has been sinking like a rock right now.
No, and the only one that's been able to make up ground is that 42 of Muvik. He was the big benefactor in extending practice during speed weeks. He's passing. He's doing things that most in his ballpark range aren't doing. Now you'd be saying, well, he's racing back in 20th. We're used to seeing him in the top 10. I wouldn't be shocked if he could pass a Dragula, Abraham Vila, definitely in my eyes a Frank Horley. Sean Rowe, Finnegan Myers, this 42 is not out of the question. He just needs things to go his way. In this case, a caution or two would benefit him. If you're Van Drugman, you don't want to race this 42 long term.
No, he's picking them up and laying them down. It's going to get tougher the further up you go. That's just how it is. Better cars, harder to pass.
Here's Dylan Basin in 30th. You may be saying, why are we watching drivers this deep? He did qualify on the pole. Had a pole at the pit road due to internet issues. Has since come on back onto the track. Still on the lead lap, now in the 29th position.
So, again, I'm really interested to see, has Bomar made any hay with the leaders? So he's slotted right between the 6th and 7th place machines of Rowe and Horley. And he's catching up to the 99. It's going to be interesting if those tires make a huge difference or not. Because if not, well, then you might have some people just wanting to run them as long as they'll go.
I think he's struggling because his last lap was a 52.2, and the leader of Van Drugman ran a 52.175. So from bad to worse for the PBR camp, at least right now in Indianapolis, they're going to need something to go their way. Luckily, he is just one lap down. He could get the lucky dog. He just needs to hope Nathan Dew doesn't get lapped, which is on the clock in maybe the next 4, maybe 3 laps.
Yeah, I gotta say, that might be Nathan Dew's, his due, basically, because that Mountain Dew machine fits his name. It looks really hot. I like it.
Nathan Dew wins the LCQ, one of the greatest lines in e-ticket history. Can you do it again?
That's the line from that e-ticket you're going to remember him saying?
No, I remember the fact that he decided to race naked because he felt like it was going to give him more of an aerodynamic advantage in a sim. It must have worked. I don't know. He won the race.
The characters of NR never cease to amaze us, that's for sure. Battle here between Walker and Myers. This for the 4th position. Myers going to dive it down low. Looks like he has it.
Man, Hayden just gives so much room on entry to turn 3.
I almost looked like he had a little bit of handling issue there. Maybe he's giving it up more than anything else.
He's definitely scuffed up that right front.
He might have just been pulling aside, like, you're faster than me. I'll pull the Mark Martin gentleman's agreement and let you by.
We'll see the lap for lap. Jacob Wilkerson back in the 6 range. We saw nearly a second advantage for Van Drugman. Van Drugman and Aidan Walker, countless amount of races, ran at the historic Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. He's looking for his 3rd e-ticket event. For the ones that don't know, Van Drugman's first e-ticket ran ever this year, Le Mans. Then he won that. Then he decided to go ahead and win Darlington after a wild set of circumstances. We went to Talladega saying, is it 3 in a row? No. This SimRacing World said that's not going to happen. That's impossible.
Now, the sim gods are very, very difficult to please, but he's been one of those guys who's just sort of set the pace of this season so far, and he's doing the same here. Led now the opening 30 laps of this race.
He also has gotten up into the outside wall. You saw the scuff mark there. Frank Horley 7th, Abraham Vila 8th, Drew Jua has worked his way to the 9th position. Mosteller up to 10th. He's ahead of the Eladom Contreras 92. Look at the drivers that may have come on pit road. Here comes Andres Vadas. He's in.
Yeah, more and more slowly peeling off.
So 32 to 40, that is the zone. You saw Yaroslav Donskoy come off turn number 2. A lot of these drivers pitting a little bit earlier. I don't see the true advantage unless they're just trying to throw something out early and see if it works.
I think handling might be part of it too. These cars have been really whipping out on a lot of different guys. Maybe that's their way to try and fight against it.
Always fun to see. Now for the ones that are watching for the first time, you may be saying, oh, when does the stage end? We don't do that here.
Nope.
We are big fans on the sim side of starting a race, and the only reason the race should be stopped is if there is an incident on track warranting a yellow that could hurt or impact the events for the drivers currently on the racetrack. So, in theory, once we take the green flag the first time, the only reason you shouldn't see the white flag and the checker to follow is if something goes wrong, and it just did there for Drew Jua. Pow, into the turn 2 wall.
But even with that, you've seen the gap he's now put on Daniel Mosteller. It's not like he's been getting run down by him. He just made a mistake or something like that. He's run down Horley and Vila. So there might be a little more speed in that 38 machine, just not showing it yet.
Indeed. And remember, he almost won an e-ticket. He was mere inches from doing so back in 2024. That being the Florida 500. His finish between Mosteller and himself really set the tone for the Florida 500 moving forward. Drew Jua really hasn't had that much luck since.
No, but if anyone is to turn it around in this week or the coming one next month, it is him. He's somebody who can really rise to the occasion. We're looking back at Bomar now. We talked about him earlier, has not made any ground up with those, 25 lap newer tires?
Now, last lap time, 52.4. He's about even with Van Drugman, now the race leader, so there really hasn't been that big of a shift. What he's going to need is some clean air. He's going to need to get away from Sean Rowe to see if he can kind of run his pace. Yes, on the straights, they get up to 197, 196 miles per hour, but nothing big to change. This will be the big change here. Inside the top 5, Finnegan Myers coming to pit road. One mistake on speeding changes everything. Was it 2009 that they caught Juan Pablo Montoya speeding?
Yes, it was. He swore on the lives of his wife and children that he wasn't, but didn't matter. He was, and that ended up losing a surefire win for Montoya that year. I mean,
he dominated.
He did. He flat out dominated that race, but at the end of the day, it ended up being a battle between Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin for the victory of the Brickyard 400 that year.
Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, going back to back.
Yep.
So, does that happen today with Wilkerson and Van Drugman? PBR, it's been a while since they've won an e-ticket. I think back to, Michael Gregory, 2005 Daytona 500. Yeah. So it's been a long trip for them. To be running in second this early, really a treat.
Yeah, and he hasn't been able to run as many of the e-tickets this year as other years. So as Contreras comes down into the pits, again, we're seeing more of these front runners start peeling off. But we haven't seen that 43 really running as many of these this year. And we had big expectations. A lot of people at home did as well. And now living up to him as he gets on the track.
Green flag runs, pit strategies. This is what you want to see, including before we have a super speedway e-ticket event to follow, that being the NWP 400. 62 drivers will be on the entry list. We're going to cap it at that for the duels on August 12th. Mark the calendars. That's a Tuesday night, and we're back to prime time Sunday night e-tickets to follow.
We don't have the number just yet. We'll figure that out closer to the event, but we do know it'll be the biggest winner's jackpot of the year, for sure. As it normally is, and everyone's coming down into the pits now.
There's Aiden Walker, Sean Rowe, Adam Garza.
That's the top 5.
Wilkerson and Drugman on the same strategy.
Well, and if you look how they're entered in as Horley and Vila take over the lead, that 12 machine, eventually he'll get close enough to us to see, he is right there, right ahead of the 43. So it might get a lot closer as they get off the pits.
Yeah, this is going to be a game of inches right here. If they can get on and off pit road quick. Wilkerson was able to stop earlier in his box, and he did get the right sides up. This is actually a race we want to watch, so give it a moment. We're going to see who can get on and off pit road first. Almost even on the left side. It will be Toyota versus Ford. Can Wilkerson get off?
Nope.
No, Van Drugman somehow got out ahead of him.
Well, and so under caution, the further up pit road you are, it is the better advantage. But under green, you need a little more fire off, especially if you're in those first couple of stalls and you're seeing now that 12 is just yarding him out there.
This will give Frank Horley the lead of the e-ticket event. He's just ahead of Abraham Vila, Drew Jua, Daniel Mosteller. Mosteller, the highest he's going to be running all day for now. Up to 4th, Derek Shaver is in with Riker Byram.
And looking through, I believe it's just now the top 9 that have stayed out on the racetrack.
You understand the strategy for Basin, right? Wants a caution.
Yep.
He's going to stay out as long as he can. And in theory, we could be saying Dylan Basin could have been leading the majority of this race if there was not the issue with internet that forced him down the pit road from the start.
Yeah, and he's going to be buried in this field. And that's the thing is, this is one of those events where you really can't make a major mistake. Yeah. Horley almost did.
He locked up the right rear twice coming on a pit road, and I believe Abraham Vila can best him as long as he can get through the pit strategy.
Dang near had an octave go up there for me a second. But you can't make a mistake, because if you make one mistake and you lose 10 to 12 seconds, this is a green flag race so far. We're almost a quarter of the way in about a lap and a half. We will be to this race. No yellows, spread out. You're seeing the guys who are just hitting their marks every time, doing everything right, compared to the ones who just aren't.
You see Braden Mulvick is in. There's Georgiou in second. Yaroslav Donskoy. The car is slipping a little bit more with the tire wear than some may have expected. Basin is in. Horley very slow to get out. So he's going to lose at least a couple spots. I wouldn't be surprised if he's outside the top 10.
Yeah, he's losing another. We'll see. Depends on where these guys here, the final 3 to pit, how they cycle out. We're looking at the intervals on the side, and Van Drugman is just a scorching pace right now.
Indeed, as long as he can keep it. Mosteller, Drew Jua, Van Drugman's in 4th, Abraham Vila is in. First one to come to a complete stop. That is Drew Jua's 38 machine.
Oh, the one in the 87 had to go back into their pits.
Yep. And that half a second, that cost some time. Van Drugman's on lap traffic. He will regain the race lead after being on provisional lead.
That is, I believe, Carlos Truther right in front of him. 4 laps down, I think I saw. Maybe 3, and just not a good start to the day for him. Top 3, 4, cycle out. Walker did gain a spot on Garza through that cycle.
He did. Okay, we know going on and off pit road is going to help you out. Finnegan Myers is 5th. We mentioned Garza in fourth, Walker in third. Wilkerson, he lost about a second on and off pit road, so that's where they're going to need to make up some time. Drugman's the fastest on track, and right now he's also the fastest on and off pit road.
Well, now, I mean, look how much he's gained of that lead, about a second. That's all it was. It was just a second, and it looked small coming out of the pits. That now has over doubled his lead over Wilkerson.
Give it one caution, you change the complexity. Braden Lubbock through the pit cycle, I believe, gained maybe 3 or 4 spots. He's up to 17th, about to do battle here with Max Steinmeier.
This is actually incredible to see. He is the only one who's made up, I would say, multiple spots in a short amount of time.
And this race is flying by. We're already 40 laps in. He's moving, and you look at this, and I don't think Van Drugman has seen the best of this field yet. It made me saying, what if he doesn't see the best of his field? And you know what? Hats off to him and his team for qualifying well. Kicking, you know what, in practice to get up there.
Kicking tail.
And keeping the distance. But if this race runs all the way green, Van Drugman just basically being hard-nosed since the start of this race could very easily be the winner. You know what this reminds me of a little bit?
What does it remind you?
Kind of yes, kind of no. Coming into this event, there are some drivers that were stumbling in, right? Oh, they didn't perform well in qualifying. They weren't doing well in practice. They were saying the track temperature, it felt like it changed from what they were dealing with in speed weeks, mainly because we were testing when the whole front straightaway was nice and shadowed versus now it's partially turn one. So one driver, or maybe 2 or 3, jumping out of the gate saying, this is our e-ticket, we're going to go win another one. Or I'm going to go win my first. Others stumbling out, 2015 Coke 0400, even though it was a super speedway.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it. You know, John, I'm looking back so far this year, and the Florida 500 took about 3 hours, 9 minutes. Right?
Wow.
The Le Mans race was a timed race. The only timed e-ticket event, 3 hours flat. 3 hours 21, longest e-ticket of the year was the Southern 500, 3 hours 3 minutes for Alabama. And then, of course, the Indiana 500 was 2 hours 42 minutes, but the speed was the factor there.
We did see Wilkerson close in. Van Drugman has not been able to find his way around Jackson Bynes, so it's down to a 1-4. The race on track, how about the race in the chat? So we're going to go ahead and look at the top fans. Jags be jagging to third, Cito. 11:01 to fourth, and Unknown MZ to fifth. All chasing the Harvick to win, who is the top fan in live chat. Keep chatting it up. We're going to see who the winner of the live chat is.
So going back to what I was saying, the pace of this race is insane in the blistering pace of it. Because, John, we went live at 7:15 Central Time. It is 8:15 Central Time now. We're an hour into the broadcast, roughly.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's about less than 45 minutes of racing, and we're already on lap 42.
Yeah. I would think way less than 45 minutes, because we started at what time, roughly, when it came to getting qualifying started? Probably what, like 7:25?
Yeah, in and around that.
You go through, that's what, 5 minutes? 7:30, go through the pace laps. I mean, this race is flying. Like less than 40 minutes so far. And my point in saying this is that when you have a pace like this, people get desperate. They try and make desperate moves because they don't know if they're going to get it. I mean, we've been talking all about Braden Lubbock, right? How great he is, how much he's come to the field. He is almost 17 seconds back.
Right.
You can't make that up without doing something crazy. Or a caution. But we're not seeing it.
We just saw Van Drugman. He's now a second advantage over Jacob Wilkerson. Was struggling to get around Jackson Byes and that of the 54 Carlos Struther.
And once again, we're also seeing right behind us, Walker getting reeled back in by Garza. That 8 machine has a little bit of juice in it too tonight. He's shown the ability to pass some of the best out there.
Sean Rowe, Finnegan Myers. This is 5th and 6th.
Looks for the move. So you're seeing that second line get used more. Myers using it now, but the nose is there for Rowe. Does he have enough to make it through? Side by side. Not enough to get off 4. Just keeping that nose there. Can't do it. going to have to regroup.
Update from the admins that have been watching the racetrack. They said mostly wall taps and slaps. There hasn't been anybody turned around sideways to even consider a caution coming out. This has been probably the cleanest 45 laps we have ever had in an e-ticket, so they plan on keeping it that way. You saw the wall tap for Bynes.
Don't jinx it, John. Don't jinx it.
Yeah, almost jinked Masters of the Pros on Wednesday. Thanks for Harvick crash.
Through all of that, Basin now is up to the 23rd position, so he's starting to make his way through the field. 33 on the lead lap, and they just keep hitting that wall. Eventually, somebody's going to take it over the edge. It's inevitable.
There's Jacob Wilkerson. Remember when the gap was about 1 second flat? Truther has been running in the wake, pulls along to the inside, allows Wilkerson hopefully to get an advantage, and does. Deeper in the field, Sean Rowe. Can he get through Finnegan Myers?
I think he has enough there to do it now. Clears entering one. Myers going to come right in behind that bright machine. And then Contreras now trying to make a move. But hey, Myers almost made a move on Rowe.
Rowe was almost caught sleeping. And how about Eladon Contreras? I think back to 2021, he was always good here. It was this track, but never got a win, or Michigan. And who's been the biggest advocate for another Michigan e-ticket? Eladon Contreras.
And he has proven why. He's really good at these bigger, faster tracks. He's looking down low again. I think he has it. He's going to get past Myers if he can get the exit of 4 hooked up. Can't do it. Really similar to what we saw from Sean Rowe just a lap or two before.
Finnegan Myers, you still got to give it to him. A rookie in the e-ticket side, running up inside the top 10. Frank Corley, I thought he would jump outside top 10, but with Vila and Jura making mistakes on pit road, it has actually allowed him to stay in the 8th position.
And you're seeing the top 10 is really gapped away from Trevor Huff, Daniel Mosteller, and Bomar. Those guys in 11th through 13th, a little bit of a issue there for the 92.
47 laps in of the 160. Daniel Mosteller in 12th, James Bomar 13th. So it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't amazing. Remember, Bomar was running what, up inside the top 7?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult tonight to make those strategy runs. There's a battle for position, 3rd place. Garza has a nose. Now he is ahead of Walker. Another power move by that 8 car. Could Garza maybe have something for Van Drugman tonight?
Yeah, that's the second time he has bested Aiden Walker. I mean, we have seen it kind of now lap after lap, how they've been able to work with each other. I think Walker's got to worry every time he sees the 8 machine coming into view. Up to 3rd. Hypothetically, you got to restart, right? Garza, Wilkerson, 2 PBR cars up inside the top 3 for an e-ticket. What is this, 2022?
Hey, man, it's a blast from the past, and they are loving it up front, but that 8, he was about 3.2. He's made up about 4/10 in the last lap or so. Now he gives it back a little bit, again, the ebb and flow of Indianapolis, but he might have something for that 43 and 12.
2.5 difference. Jacob Wilkerson on a tear. Everyone else still doing the nice snake trail up and down the front straightaway.
That's one of the staples of racing at Indianapolis, is just everyone trying to break the draft. Don't let everyone get some kind of advantage on you. And then you see that snake. We'll probably see it on the backstretch this time. Myers right in front of Contreras, who is all over him. And that has brought Horley and Vila and even Drew Jua into this battle for the 6th position.
49 of 160. There's Bomar in 12th. Make that 13th. Mosteller in 12th. I look deeper on Mosteller, Mubik, Burns. Burns someone in no man's land. James Bomar. Talked about him earlier. There's Dylan Basin, who is up to the 22nd position, has not made up time like that of Braden Mubik.
No, but he has made up a little bit of time as it goes. There's the snake again on the front stretch. But we've seen him make up a little bit of time. I'm telling you, though, that 8, he gives up a few on exit at some of these, but he's shown the ability to start eating into leads. I want to see if they're able to re-rack this thing up at some point, just what that 8 machine can do.
How about this one? Maybe no new race leader on your stream, but there is a new race leader in the live chat. Sputtermouth is now the top fan. Continuing to chat it up down there, and we'll see who goes to victory lane in the live chat. I think Garza is going to have company again because Aiden Walker really hasn't left.
No, he stayed right with them. They've been stuck behind the 3 machine, that of Kenny Reel, for a little bit. The lap cars are going to be a factor in this race, whether it be for the win, 3rd position, 10th position, wherever it is, they will be in the way at some point.
Here's Drew Jewell to Abraham Vila. So lap after lap, it's going to be knocked down. And how things are right now, it's the Van Drungman show up front, but this is Indianapolis with stock cars. I mean, they even talked about it way back in the 90s, right? Look back to some of the earlier Brickyard 400s. If someone is the best, at least as of that moment, they will get up there. I'm not saying this is going to be an underdog type of night, but has an underdog really had a shot with us at Indianapolis? I think Jackson Bynes is the closest to that. That was an open wheel.
Yeah, I mean, he has been.
I go back to 2022, and that's really the big event we got to look back on. Spencer Burns, who really was an underdog. If you think back to 2022, Spencer Burns was like the hottest prospect in NR at the time. Led the majority of the first half of the race, and then Chad Thurnquist pulled lightning out and won within the last couple of laps after Braden Movick hit the turn 1 wall. I think to enter Night in America, Dylan Basin, you'll get out, early lead, pull away. Wyatt Tinsley, early lead, pull away.
Move for 8th. That's Vila going underneath. Frank Corley, contact. They're going to keep it clean, though.
It should allow Drew Jewell to close in. So this is a veterans-esque race, and we do see now a veteran leading the way 52 laps in.
Now you're seeing with how spread out they go. You talked about earlier, no man's land. A lot of these guys basically trying to make it from one group to the next, almost like island hopping. And that's the island of 8th going to Vila over Horley. Drew Jewell looking for more. We're riding on board with him.
I was about to say, if Vila and Horley stuck alongside each other just a little bit longer into turns 3 and 4, Drew Jewell could have gotten a 2-for-1 special. Instead, he's got to settle for the dance of 9th.
And he's not going to get it this time. Looks like he got his foot stepped on in that dance. He's going to have to re-rack again. But look behind him. That is Trevor Huff, who is starting to make up positions on the 38, starting to make up time. And right behind him, Daniel Mosteller trying to make himself known.
Lomar back in 13th. We'll watch on with Drew Jewell. No big change to the Frank Corley machine. Vila in 8th, Eladon Contreras in 7th. It's a PBR top 10 of 3 machines that rest. Make it 4 machines. I just saw Sean Rowe is up to the 5th spot. They're having the greatest Hoosier 400 ever. Maybe their best e-ticket so far. If they can just beat that 12, Wilkerson is not that far back. I mean, a second and a half. We're going to have green flag cycles coming soon again.
He's even so far, which again, that's good. I mean, he's pretty even. He's losing maybe a 100th here, a 100th there, and it adds up over time. But he's able to put up some pretty good laps that stack up with the 12. The problem is, well, he's gapped almost 2 seconds behind now.
Yeah. Down the back straightaway, Aiden Walker. We haven't seen much changes with this race, mostly now single filing out. For the ones watching back home, Enter Night in America is live tomorrow night at 8:45 Eastern, 7:45 Central. The Area Cup Series at the Auto Club Speedway, the final race before the Final Four, the championship round for the Area Cup Series in 1 week time, starting Monday. You can catch it all live on the IDK Player YouTube channel. The NWP 400 Duels, the blockbuster summer e-ticket event as it's been since 2021, will be happening with the duels on July, on August 12th and also August 17th. Mark your calendars. They'll both go live at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Prime time, Sunday night, e-ticket event to end the summer months.
You gotta love it. And you know, it fits one of the few times outside of Daytona all year that we actually have a Sunday off.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Trevor Hoff up to the 11th spot, the Dutch Bros machine. If it wasn't for Dutch Bros, well, we wouldn't be able to stay up past 1 o'clock in the morning working on this e-ticket event.
You wouldn't.
Which is crazy to say because we used to work on e-tickets at 3 or 4 in the morning about 2 years ago.
I'm about to say, like, all I need is for the little kiddo next to me in the bassinet to start crying.
Yeah.
Then I'll stay up all night. Maybe not working on an e-ticket, though.
This is her first e-ticket, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah. So funny, the story. I think I can explain it now. Don't think we're going to have something major happen yet, and then you can yell over me when it does. So I left with about 30 to go in the Indiana 500. False alarm. We thought that maybe that was the night. Ended up not being. You know, you had to wait about another week and a half to cook. So I run out, right? But the entire time that I'm running back to my new apartment that I just moved into that week, grabbing all that stuff, and then driving to the hospital with, if you remember, John, a giant thunderstorm on the way that was major. I had that event on, and I'm listening to how it's going towards the end and the shuffle and all of that. The funny story, I should probably say, is afterwards, when we found out it was all good. And it was, 1 in the morning? And I was like, hey, I got to come back and get a bunch of my stuff. You know, I left my mic here, left all that. So you had gotten the U-Haul that we both moved our apartments out of.
Right, we moved at the same time.
And I said, hey, tell me whatever you want from the menu, and we'll count it towards paying back the U-Haul. Let's just like order half the menu off of Taco Bell and just chill and watch Andor till 3 in the morning.
We did, that's right. I totally remember that. So for the ones that don't know, you know, we're in the same area of Tennessee. We both elected to move around the same time.
I think within like, what?
Within like 2 days.
2 days. I thought it was like a week. Damn, this 2 days.
We were moving, and during that time, we had an e-ticket event. During that time, we had North-South Super Late Model Challenge at Nashville, which is one of the 2 Super Late Model events we have every year. Big production, had to focus on that. The IndyCar radio audition coming up, where I had to go work at Indianapolis, which was also a lot of fun. The month of May was just insane. And then following all that, we call it Hell Week. 4 events, 1 week on basically 4 different sides of America. And we had to drive it all. And we started it by moving.
Yeah. And we were doing that like all-nighters too, on top of our normal work on YouTube, our normal work everywhere else. That was a wild time.
And oh, by the way, we got an e-ticket in somehow during that.
Does that count as dad lore for on my end?
I think there's so much dad lore with yourself.
One day for you.
I would say so. I think it'd be crazy. The stories are going to be wild.
The ones that we can't tell on YouTube. So we approach almost 100 to go at this point. We're watching Garza, who's not let Walker basically get away from Walker, I should say, not let Garza get away from him. This happening about 3.5 seconds behind Drugman, the leader. No change for the most part in the top 10 as they run.
I just wonder if this 42 would have put down a qualifying lap. Let's say he didn't have to throw up before the start of this race. He's about to get up to Trevino and Donskoy. This is all under green flag laps. If this race hypothetically goes green the distance and that 42 finishes in the top 10, that might be one of the most impressive comebacks, and he has had many in NR night that we have ever seen. I remember for the NR Cup Series race, I said, wow, greatest comeback ever in NR night in America. If Braden Lovick wins this e-ticket event, greatest comeback on iRacing, period.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, with what he's had to basically been battling through all night, the difficulties of this car package, everything like that, it has been already a heck of a run.
And he's not too many spots behind Mr. 4-time in Daniel Mosteller. Not been a really good race for this 87.
You know, I've noticed this with Demo sometimes, and there's a lot of time to go. They're approaching 100 laps left, so it's not like he's down for the count and out of it. But I've noticed a couple times, like, say, when we had the California 500 or the USA 500, where sometimes on these bigger tracks, Mosteller kind of just sinks back into the pack a little bit.
That's right. I think at Auto Club he was running 20th.
Oh, no, it wasn't even 20th. At one point, he was outside the top 30.
Wow.
And he ended up being able to make up spots as it went. You know, Michigan, he wasn't really too much a factor in that one. But then there's other races, not just super speedways, but IndyCar and Darlington and others like that, where he's the best one out there. It's crazy, the Jekyll and Hyde performance and e-tickets that he can have.
Highest third, that was during green flag cycles. Lowest 13th, so he really hasn't moved since where he was starting. Drew Jua, Trevor Huff. Huff has actually been somewhat on the move. Started 19th, now high of 11th. So we have seen drivers jostling for positions. It just hasn't been that aggressiveness that you would see on a cookie cutter like a Chicagoland or a Kansas or a Las Vegas. But that's just really the aura. I can't believe I'm using that for an e-ticket. of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's just how this track is. What makes it so unique is when you do get a pass or two, you can hone in on it for the next 2 or 3 laps.
15th and going back. Bomar is the first to pit again.
And that's kind of just the awaken, right? It's when you see seagulls, when you're approaching the shore, you know you're close.
It's Bomar pitting. Yeah, I've noticed, though, I mean, there's battling there. Mubik is past Trevino.
This is Basin on Shaver for the 18th position. And oh, by the way, I know this is a little off topic now, since we did talk about it. I did hear a great analogy with you in the situation in the Indiana 500. It's like you're microwaving some food and you check on it and you go, 30 more seconds. We need 30 more seconds.
Pretty much is.
Shaver on the inside. It looks like he may be coming to pit road soon. Wilkerson, 1-8. This is going to be interesting. Do you pit with Van Drugman or do you not? Because Van Drugman's been really good in clean air. Maybe his car can perform a little bit better, that being the 43?
I mean, again, second stop. There's probably, I'd say two after this, would you say? Probably 2 stops after
I would say so.
Do you take a shot? Do something different? Pit early, pit late? What do you do?
Now we're looking at it. Still around 40 to go, right? That's the max I think the fuel will go. If you pit, yeah, you're still going to have to do at least 2 more stops unless you try something bold.
So that's the thing. I don't really know what you could do to make up a ton of ground other than just hope the Drugman has a really poor sequence in the pits.
I'm curious to see what James Bomar does, right? When he cycles on through, is he able to ever become the race leader? Not provisionally, but just within enough time to maybe do 1 last pit stop. You saw a huge slide deeper in the field. That's Finnegan Myers.
Myers has been solidly in the top 10 all night, but let's not act like that car has been easy to drive. It's been a little bit of a hell on earth for him at different times. Contreras, solid run. Horley, solid run. Just a lot of guys with a lot of solid runs so far. Top 12 have stayed the same. Everyone else that's pit has been from 13th on back. So none of the leaders have really made the decision to fire it off down there.
There's Kenny Real. Remember, he had underlining issues early in the event. He did get that nose fixed up. Adam Garza in the number 8 machine, right side. Oh, even more scuffed up. Did get up into the outside retaining wall in turn 1. Aiden Walker, P4. No big change. Rowe, Myers, Eladon Contreras, and then there's James Bomar, who at least is visibly quicker now with the fresh new Goodyears.
Yeah, now what he needs to do is he needs to start getting past some of these guys that don't have the fresh rubber. Start making his way up, make some real time up on the racetrack that we can physically see.
Georgiou, Trevor Huff and Moss Stellar, still Braden Mubik. Now up to the 13th position.
Now some of that's from passing, some of that also is from others pitting, but wherever they cycle out.
Yeah, he did get around Trevino, so I think if those 2 drivers didn't pit ahead of him, maybe he would be back in the 15th, 14th spot. Still, fantastic run nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it's been just rock solid for him so far tonight. You know, I'm just realizing this is a 160-lap race. What are we 15 laps away from?
Oh my goodness, halfway.
What was the amount of laps, and we're seeing others get on the track, get out of the way, all that. What was the amount of laps that the Garage Guys 499 went?
112.
112?
And I believe the first one we did was 94. Went 94 green, I believe.
In that race?
In the first Brickyard 400, yes. 94 or in the 80s. It's somewhere in that ballpark range, because then all heck broke loose after.
So I'll say a very, very clean and I will say impressive run by the field to start this race.
And one of the big things during the drivers' meeting was, hey, we saw what happened at Talladega. We saw what happened at Indianapolis a couple weeks ago. We had a couple guys going in like no one else mattered but themselves, and they took guys out that put $10 on that entry list, that did multiple weeks of testing. We don't want to see guys wreck out within the first 10 laps after putting weeks of preparation, weeks of marketing, promotion, because you thought it'd be a great idea to take a 3-wide lap 1 or 3-wide lap 3 when you know dang well you have 300, 350, 380 miles left to go. I think they took that for face value because, oh my goodness, hats off to every driver that has taken the green flag tonight.
And no low percentage moves tonight, that's for sure. Huff not really able to take advantage of Drew Jua. They're going to have to regroup, re-rack, and maybe retreat for a little bit, but he's trying to get up into the top 10 to that 55.
Left side of your screen, you can see the fastest time so far is Van Drugman, top of the board with a 51.450.
Look at Mosteller, a 51.387.
So nothing really very much change. We're looking to see if this is consistent. No, so these are just fastest times. Last time for Van Drugman was a 52.071. For Jacob Wilkerson, it was a 52.020.
And this is roughly half a second to 6/10 off of their best. And we see now first big player, Garza, jumping down into the pits in that 8 car.
He's in, and looks to maybe have not sped.
So now that we got the third place car in, it's going to be interesting to see how the others respond that are up there, from basically Mosteller on up.
You say if you're kind of in that ballpark range, try to go longer than Drugman. I think you got to try an overcut here just to see if you can get some clean air.
Maybe if it does go green to the end, if you're able to overcut further and further, maybe you can have a shorter final stop.
I just don't like the idea of, if you're in second, pit with the race leader. Unless you're just hoping for Drugman to slide over his pit stall.
To be fair, Wilkerson has made up about half a second on him.
Yeah, once Drugman gets into dirty air like you see right here, this is where his car does not perform. So we know Van Drugman is really good in clean air. We haven't really seen that 12 battle with others when he's behind the 8 ball. And I think that's what's going to make the big difference, right? We get through a cycle, Van Drugman gets stuck behind 4 or 5 cars. If Drugman and Wilkerson, or whoever would then be provisionally in second, are lined up 1-2, no one in between, can they make up a lot of ground? Because there is a weakness in this car.
I think it'd be hard to see. By the way, Contreras, Mosteller, and more players from that top 11 and 12 are jumping down into the pits.
See Xander McKinney. There's Aerodom Contreras, left side's up. Now this 12 machine is not foolproof. He may have led every single lap after the cycle. Oh, and Wilkerson's going to close in again.
Aggressive entry for Wilkerson. It's going to nab him more, but I mean, beforehand, he was right there. I mean, the fumes of that 12 car were going into the 43, and now there's a couple car lengths gap between that Mustang and that Camry.
We're going to watch Finnegan Myers. He really came in very deep to Sean Rowe. I mean, look how close he is to the back half of that car. Oh, he's going to be alongside Gavin Austin. They make contact on pit road.
All right, here they go.
There is the top 4.
Oh, he had to back it up. Myers had to back it up, and that's a crucial mistake. He is going to end up being behind that 99.
Oh, man, Drugman's really going to get away from Jacob Wilkerson. Sean Rowe, Finnegan Myers will not be able to overtake the 99 in a row after having to back up in his stall. Rookie mistakes in e-ticket events. This is what usually happens.
Those are going to stack up. He was running, what, 6th or 7th beforehand? He might be at the tail end of the top 10 after a mistake like that.
I almost wanted to say trouble for Nathan Dew. Did he get up into the wall? Yeah, he did. I think almost on entry. We'll watch the replay. Minding his own business. Kind of caught at the corner of my eye. Oh, no, just more of a lockup than anything. Didn't get up into anything and had a very early pit stall, so had to jump in.
So as they run, looking through the running order, you see Steinmeier, Mubik, they're in. Looking like the top 12 still need to pit.
Mubik is in. You see him there. Van Drugman. Adam Garza has actually found a way to overtake from the looks of things. Garza undercutted the 12 machine.
He's got about 7/10 on Wilkerson.
There's Wilkerson on track. There's Adam Garza. And then there's Van Drugman. Think about it. Adam Garza almost won the Florida 500 this year. He was off turn 4, the race leader. And then things got wild and wild in a hurry. This is where the 12 is not at its best behind lap traffic, and Andres Suarez is not giving any type of room to the 12. Now finally does at turn 4.
Still difficult, but he made it.
Tight. And Garza should be able to easily take care of Devins Baker.
Yep. Battle of the beers, not going to last very long. Bud is taking it to the top. King of beers, king of the race so far, the beer cars.
Yeah, that mountain doesn't look blue on the 40.
No, that's lukewarm.
Difference at around time, about 2.5 seconds between Drugman and Adam Garza. Will continue to monitor, but Drugman's still struggling in lap traffic. He's going to have Xander McKinney ahead of him. I did see the 00 of Finnegan Myers. He did speed on pit road. He's in 27.
Crucial mistakes, but that's something that I think at this point, as we're 6 laps from halfway, no cautions yet, that might be an insurmountable mistake.
Battle for the race lead. These two have yet to come to pit road. Abraham Vila to the outside of Aiden Walker.
So obviously, no matter what happens, it's not going to be a perfect race in the laps led, but the race run by that 12 machine so far by Van Drugman has been as close to a perfectly run e-ticket as we've seen in the opening half of one of these races. Gosh, John, years it's been.
Yeah. Flawless time of action. Here's Drew Jua, Frank Horley.
They keep it together.
Still alongside each other, and Jackson Bynes as he try to make it 3 wide down the back.
Look who's at the end of this group.
Braden Mubbick.
Making up more spots, just reeling them in, putting them up, putting them down one by one.
Walker's in, Shaver's in, Jeff Perchatsky is in.
Not clear now. And here comes the 42 under Donskoy.
Mubbick underneath Donskoy. I think he's a little worried about Jackson Byes.
Look how much lower he's able to cut these corners. Now he gets it into the wall. That might not be good. Oh, man, they avoided it.
Byes went wide. Donskoy says 3 wide.
So 2 by 2 entering into turn 1. Mubbick's going to look up high, tries to make some kind of move. He's going to clear Donskoy. Now looking to make a move on Frank Horley.
There's Drew Jua, who has gotten away and will like to set sail. Byes, Mubbick nearly inches up towards the outside retaining wall. And they have now figured out a way to single file out.
The fun part is that the only battle for position for the 42 is with that 90. The rest of these guys still need to pit.
That's right.
And others, for instance, are laps more down or on a different lap altogether. Look at that move to the high side. He's pitting, but still, it's fun to watch.
Horley comes to pit road. Mubbick will advance up a position on the racing surface, but not for position for the lead. He can't unlap himself if he can find a way around Drew Jua.
You just look at the amount of cars he's able to pass. I mean, they don't keep track, I don't believe, in iRacing of how many cars total you pass in an event, but we know he's passed the most.
Look at this one. 65 of 76. Green flag cycles has been the big caveat of that stat.
Yeah, I mean, if he was able to run it long and not have to worry about the lead, he would be leading every single lap, no problem.
Where's Garza on track? Van Drugman moves up. There's Abraham Vila coming out of pit road. Sean Rowe. Traffic ahead. Garza and Wilkerson second and third.
Well, look at the amount of positions through mistakes, through different things like that. Now you got Contreras up in 6th. You got Mosteller up in 8th. You got, looks like Horley up in 11th. And Mubbick has cycled out now to 13th on track, and that's before Drew Jua cycles out.
Yeah. His next contender would be Frank Horley, who is just now coming out of pit road. So P13 for the 42 car. And he should be able to get Drew Jua easily, we would think. Yeah, Drew still has the left sides up, Mubbick down the backstretch. It may be close, so maybe even P12.
Drugman is passed. Garza now the difference, 2.3. Then back to Wilkerson about another second. Rowe another 2 seconds behind, and you're seeing, I mean, just look at the moves the 42's making.
They're calling it the flu race. Misqualifying, was throwing up. Imagine if he went on pole. Because he had the speed to do it.
Thing is, I'll undercut you though on the story. All of this happening 20 seconds behind Van Drugman.
Yeah. 13th will not get ahead of Drew Jua. Drew and Frank Horley to fight for 11th.
Drew will have the fresher tires though. And you're seeing it on exit.
Horley was just pushing when he got back to the gas.
Yeah, you're seeing that the Starbucks machine is just on it.
It looked like he had no power coming to the center of turns 3 and 4. Almost like he was saving fuel.
Up ahead of them, that would be Bomar and I believe, who's that in the 19 there? I can't see.
Something is up. Give us a moment to diagnose. Oh my goodness.
Hey, you know what? You got to do something different to try and win these things.
Is this a fuel lottery by Frank Horley?
Well, I mean, we're literally about to enter the halfway lap. There's been no caution. Why wouldn't you?
Hold on. Drew Jua, are you in that same boat?
Nope.
No. Okay. We'll see if it works. Could it work? It's 79 to go. Pit one more time. Not have to pit twice. Some of those drivers have to pit twice.
But do you save enough that maybe instead of twice, you can extend this run long enough to make it once or a really short stop? I don't know.
Short stop.
But I don't know how much you could really make up instead of going from like 12th to, I don't know, 8th.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, he's trying something, right? Still trying to net gain. This is something you would kind of expect out of one of these guys up here. But, I mean, Wilkerson and Drugman, they've been on the same cycle. Horley has gone to the race lead, or at least close enough to it, during the Van Drugman pit cycle when he comes to pit road. But every time they come to Indy, someone tries something bold like this, right? Mm-hmm. Could it finally work out?
Well, you know, I want to point out the two guys I think the winners through this is Sean Rowe, up now to the 4th position on the racetrack, and Daniel Mosteller 6th. He was outside the top 10 before that last cycle. Passed some guys on track, had better stops and better entries into the pits, and now, while still 9.8 back, is still now a top 6 guy.
We'll show you what happens when you have a bad pit stop. This is Finnegan Myers, the rookie in the e-ticket. That was the highest performing rookie out of them all. Was running well up inside the top 5. Came onto pit road, sped. We saw him lock up a couple times. Then missed his pit stall at a backup. He's in 25th, and this is where it gets interesting. His speed and Van Drugman's speed is a little bit closer together than other cars that Van Drugman has raced around. Does Finnegan Myers stay up in front of Van Drugman long enough for Adam Garza to close in? Because the 00 is still very quick. Will you let him by? I mean, does he let him by? He's a rookie. You don't expect him to.
You can't let him by. You can't, because if a caution comes out, you're right back at least to start making up spots. Can't say you're back in the race, but you at least can make up some spots. But I mean, you're seeing the 12th running down. I don't know how long he can really hold him off for.
There is 79 coming to 78 laps to go in the Hoosier 400.
It's amazing how fast this race has been flying by. And at some point, you know, you got to think, you've been doing this for now, you're on lap 82, right? You're on lap 82 of this race. Does somebody make that slip up? Does somebody have that lapse in concentration because they have not had a moment to really sit down for a second and rest under caution? Yeah, you've been on green flag stops, but you got to do everything during it. It's not like it's, you know, Thunder 04 and you're just letting the AI take over for a little bit. No, it's different than a caution in so many ways.
And it's interesting because the time that the consistency changes is either when there's lap traffic, right, and you have to run a different line, which is a small adjustment, or when you come to pit road, you got to back it down to 55 miles per hour. Not this everlasting run. It's going to be interesting because, yes, we've already seen some guys get caught for speeding here and there. but we haven't seen the big push yet. We haven't seen that part of the e-ticket that changes everything. And we kind of take it for granted, right? It happens pretty often, but we have yet to see it now running with 77 to go.
I'm just amazed. I'm amazed by how long they've went into this run. This is what, only the third e-ticket that's went past halfway without a caution?
Yeah, I believe so.
Have we ever had a caution-free e-ticket?
We have never had a caution-free e-ticket. We thought for sure we were going to get it with Le Mans.
I'll say this, you know, there's a long way to go, but I've always likened a caution-free race to a perfect game in baseball. It's not just the pitcher, it's everyone. Everyone has to be perfect in that, and we've seen it with the field so far today. 76 to go, long way to go. When you get past halfway without a caution, you got to start having that conversation of what this really is leading to.
Let's ask the viewers. We asked if we'll see a first-time e-ticket winner. 64 said yes. Man, Drugman is trying to go ahead and make that note a little bit wrong. Let's go ahead and now ask, does this race go caution-free? I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, you kind of have to be surprised, but like, the way they have been running so consistently. It's going to be interesting to see what the live chat thinks. Also, I want to say thank you to everyone that has super chat. We will thank you at the end of the stream. Mikey Duche, top fan right now, has taken the lead in the live chat for being the most active. Thank you so much, Mikey. At the end of this race, we'll be shouting out who was the top fan during the event. Sean Rowe outside wall. It's been a long, long race. But it's that time of the night. Yes, commercial free, but let's go ahead and turn it up. Welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You're watching the 31st e-ticket event, the Hoosier 400. If you're just tuning on in, we say hello and welcome. How this race has been unpredictable in the way you're not thinking. 70 laps to go. If you're just tuning on in, guess how many cautions? If you're saying 1, 2, 3, 4 or more, you're absolutely wrong because we have been green since the drop of the green flag. It's been the Van Drugman show up front. Technicalities here and there with drivers making mistakes on pit road, some trying a fuel lottery, others have set sail trying to make up positions as time goes on.
It has to be kind of interesting. There's probably a lot of fans in the chat that didn't start watching NASCAR and NASCAR style racing till 2017 or on. And so, with the stage era and all that, and I know there's a lot of people in there that have started watching NASCAR since 2002, the last time they had a caution-free race. So it's like this is probably this is weird for a lot of people. And you got to think the last time that NASCAR Cup Series cars had a caution-free race, John, I believe
I was 1.
You were 1, and I think I was like maybe 4 going on 5.
Wow. Tony Stewart wasn't even a champion of the sport yet.
No. Do you remember who won that race?
No, I don't.
It was Talladega.
Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt
Wow.
Jr. had to save fuel with Tony Stewart right behind him to the finish of that race. If I'm not mistaken as well, that was the race where Mark Martin and Jimmy Johnson had a crash before the start of the race.
That's right.
Ended up costing Jimmy Johnson, a rookie at the time, with 7 races to go, a shot at the championship.
Wow. Well, you say that was foreshadowed a little bit. One mistake by Drugman, and Garza in the number 8 machine could indeed get it done. Now, for the newer fans, you may be saying, yes, this is a little abnormal, right? Long green flag runs, we're used to stages, we're used to cautions, we're used to very tight racing where if you can make a mistake, it most likely will happen. Jarrett, we grew up in an era where long green flag runs were common on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Mom would go get groceries, you may join her, and Dad will say, hey, there's about 100 laps to go, get back home, come on. That's how it was. My first NASCAR race I went to, think about this for 8-year-old me, it took over 80 laps for there to be a caution. Thank you, Vadi, for finally uploading my first NASCAR race on YouTube in full HD quality. It was Marcos Ambrose off turn 4. He took the lead earlier in the event, hit the wall, came back down pit road. Ooh. Ambrose spun, I believe it was 84 laps in. And I remember saying, my goodness, that was insanely long. Nowadays, if we go 84 laps green, I'm like, really? That's not normal.
We had that many laps to go green?
Yeah, exactly.
For me, can't think of the first one that was, at the race I was at, but I remember the first crash in front of me. First caution. Crash, I should say. And it was Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer, Michigan 2006. And I'll never forget, it's one of my favorite smells in the world, the smell of that burnt rubber smoke coating.
Yep.
They aren't there anymore, but the then turns 3 and 4 Michigan grandstands. And I remember because that was also when Tony Stewart was dealing with an injury that he had, I think, at the Coke 600 that year.
Wow.
They show the replay. He spins it in the garage. Like he does a full 180 spin and then starts hammering the hell out of the rear of the car. And they're like, yeah, I'm okay. He's like, I'm okay. I remember that race. It was very similar to tonight because that race started a little bit late.
Yeah, that's another thing too. We didn't start our broadcast on time. We went 15 minutes later, and it's mainly because of the race that was going on earlier in the day. So for a lot of the older fans, this is kind of a nice refresher and a memory of it's really never over till it's over, but hats off. I remember when we were doing e-tickets, someone complained about how many cautions we would get earlier. Like, why are you doing that? And now these drivers came in with the idea, hey, it's going to be a long race, right? If we get a restart, we know it's going to get dicey. Let's take our time. And in this case, time well taken for many guys knocking lap after lap.
Sound the alarm, sound the horn, sound whatever you need to sound. Bomar's in. That starts out. And John, was it about 40 laps the furthest you can go? It's going to be interesting to see who can make it how far. We saw that 22 saving fuel.
I don't think Drugman could go more than 40 laps, and I would love to go back in the stream and check how many laps he has been taking. I don't see it happening. So if Frank Horley pits with 38 laps to go, that's when I'm going to be a little bit interesting. I don't know if you ever grew up. No, you didn't grow up with hurricanes. I grew up with hurricanes. We're going to watch and see. Yeah, we're gonna watch and see this low pressure system develop in Horley, because if he is onto something, it could be great. This has been an absolute masterclass by Van Drugman tonight. But if he can be bested by math, it would indeed come from the driver from the Northeast.
So is Gavin Austin, I don't know off the top, is he going a lap down or has he been multiple?
I believe it should be multiple laps down. He originally had to come to pit road because of internet.
I don't know. There he is. One lap down.
Okay.
Well, I want to bring up, because Gavin Austin, we kept track of a lot of it. He's actually been one of the most consistent drivers out there. Of the guys to run every one of the 5 e-tickets so far. You know, statistically, the only one that's been better than him is Mosteller. So it's an uncharacteristically odd, slow night for him, into the wall too. It's just not been a good night for the driver of that Wendy's car.
If you're a virtual fan, where you want to sit tonight is off turn 2 or off turn 4, because that is what they've been doing.
As we round through here, there's Myers. He's kept himself on the lead lap, but unfortunately for him, he's just so far back. There's not much he can do. We followed Muffick all night. He's now 10th after that pit that we saw earlier, but he's made his way past Drew Jua now. By the way, this is lap 99.
Garza's in.
All right, so we got a short
early
pit. But that's the thing, he's doing something different. Wilkerson all night's been doing the same thing as Drugman. You got to do something different.
I think it's costing him too. Now think about it. Garza's been short pitting a lot more than the average driver. He didn't exactly lose that much time. I mean, at the end of the stint, it was back to about a 3-2. But I mean, he was around that 2.5 range. We're hearing Drew and Bean are going to go for the 3-stop instead of the 4.
Give it a shot. Do something different.
Okay. Interesting. So we are going to have a fuel lottery.
How far do they think they can go?
They think they can, if they can get to 40, we're going to see how this all cycles through. So everyone get the technique out. We're back at Le Mans, right? We're jotting down lap times. We're jotting down fuel. If Van Drugman pits and Frank Horley, Drew Jua end up ahead of Drugman, which they should by a great distance, and this race stays green.
Woo, might not.
In front of Van Drugman's 12. That's going to be a little interesting on what Horley does. You see Team T, there's 3 of them in a bind.
Just easy does it, guys. Easy does it. We don't want to do anything that ruins it so far for the guys up front.
All right, Drugman's going to be in, so he's going to have to pit one more time. This will be stop number 3.
Roughly with 21 to go.
So he's going to have to do a 4-stop. You got 2 drivers trying to do a 3-stop. Wilkerson, same song, 2nd verse, 3rd verse, 4th verse. He's going to come in the same exact time as Van Drugman. This will give Vila the race lead. This will give Mosteller P2. Mubbick will go up to 9th.
With Vila going past the line, by the way, for the first time in, what, John, 3 years, we've had an e-ticket go 100 laps green.
Yes. And we are in ballpark range of this being the first e-ticket to go caution-free.
We'll see where they shuffle out now.
Where's Horley? He's 7th. He's already ahead of Drugman. There's Drew Jua. He's in 6th. Horley did pit, if I'm not mistaken, 1 lap earlier than Drew Jua. The last time they came to pit road, that was stop number 2. They were only going to try to pit one more time, both the Fords. If I'm not mistaken, Ford has won the most e-tickets this year. 2 with Van, 1 with Kai. The rest of the 2 being Chevrolets, Mosteller going back-to-back from Talladega to Indiana.
Looking at the gap between Drugman and Garza, It's about 1.5 seconds, 1.5 seconds between them now. So he halved it.
I'm not Ryan Hall, y'all, but I think we're going to have to start putting a warning sign on this fuel lottery because I think they should be able to do it. You can hear them breathing out of the throttle. Under 40 to go. If they can go the distance, they should relatively be able to get it done without saving fuel. 41, 42, with how much they have to let off on corner entry, it's going to be dicey. Let's listen in. Yeah, they're fully committed now.
Oh my, and you know, it reminds me of another race I went to. I was at the Chicagoland race in 2011 when Tony Stewart won. And one of the things I remember about that is the silence entering the corner. I was sitting in turn 3, like right at the exit, or I should say right at the end of the backstretch at Chicagoland, going into turn 3, and you'd hear Tony Stewart, you'd hear Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And you just hear him go into the corner, and then you'd hear the nothing. They were pushing the clutch in, saving fuel. So exactly what it reminds me of in this race. So could they come up and snooker him at the end?
It's going to be so interesting. Frank Horley, Drew Jua, and the thing is, they're relatively close on track. You can see Horley really breathing out.
He's got
smoke. He saw someone must have gotten in the grass.
Yeah, we saw that the last time by 2 entering the pits. So Horley is 16 seconds back, and Drugman is 33.7. That is a difference of 17.8 roughly, maybe 17 and a half. That's a lot to give, and if they're able to keep up, having some pretty decent lap times, they could make it work. They really could.
I'm kind of stoked right here because we have a couple possibilities, right? I mean, once again, fuel lottery, huge. Really excited for that. But at the same time, if we go caution-free, 31 e-tickets. It would have taken 31 e-tickets for us to get to this point. Frank Horley won the first ever e-ticket. And he is technically in the possible range of becoming the driver to win the first caution-free e-ticket.
But if a caution does come out with the way that people have pit, the leaders or provisional leaders now having some laps on their tires, fuel, and then stuff like that, there could be a real talking point of the field being shuffled, and we're going to really have to see what then that 12 has to give to them.
And you look at it right now, there's Basin, Trevino, Horley, Drew Jua, Van Drummond. They have a pretty sizable gap.
Are they silent again already in the backstretch?
I would say so. Listen in. This is definitely the turn 1.
Oh my gosh.
Drew, what are you up to? I would say Horley's definitely hard saving a little bit more than Drew. Drew Jua is still trying to keep pace to Van Drummond. He's still the spotter. Where is Van on track, right? Where is he in the middle of the corner? What is he doing? Here's Van now. This is into turn 3.
Mavic's in, by the way, so you got...
And Van can't hard save. He has to go 4. He has to pit 4 times. Braden Mavic in. Hats off. What a race he has had. But now there's a new talking point.
I don't think they're the only ones. It seems like a lot. Oh, Carnival!
And that is the 19 of Gavin Gomez.
No caution.
Up into the outside wall. Nathan Dew. We'll stay right with him, and then there's James Bomar.
Bomar, the first one in this cycle to pit.
Malvic to the bottom side of the racetrack. 54 to go.
So Jua has about 18 seconds, roughly, over Van Drugman. About 16. John, I don't think Van Drugman's making up that much time on these guys. I don't know what the 19's doing.
No,
he's going all over.
Down back there.
Yeah. We don't want to mid-off for 30th to ruin what is becoming a pretty interesting strategy race. Seeing more guys dive down into the pits.
The admins have notified them the 19 and the 21 future spots at an e-ticket will be upheld if they go ahead and possibly try anything that's not too well in the favor.
Trevino in, which means there are 7 left on the racetrack that still need to pit. Vila now making it far. And again, for a lot of these guys who might not be able to make it to just one more stop, this being their next stop being the final one, you can still have a shorter stop and make up time. So there's still plenty to be gained for a lot of these guys. Oh, now you can see it. Horley is saving a ton, and Drugman is catching him and Drew Jua both quick.
I'm just... His goal is to get to the checkered flag, but in this case, trying to get to the checkered flag, the race winner.
No, I don't think that his goal is to get to where he can make it to the end on fuel. It doesn't matter if he's going so slow this run. If he can go full out the next run.
And then Drew has to save. Okay.
Drew might have to save, and then if he's going full out, Van Drugman is not going to catch him from, say, 13, 14 seconds back if he's going all out, regardless of how fast the 12 is.
52 to go.
Because he's not losing that much time.
He's really not. And how much time is Drugman making up? I mean, that's 14 seconds back.
But he's 17 seconds back of Drew Jua. If anything, Drew Jua is starting to at least, put together lap times that are quite similar. But 40 is that magic number. We talked about it. 40 to go is the magic number. And coming around here, we're coming to 51 to go. We're getting very close to that magic number.
And don't look now. If they got to pit one more time, Van Drugman did lose a lot of time to that of Adam Garza. There's the difference on track. Look at where Drugman is on the speedway. He's somewhat dead ahead. In between is Chase Crawl. So Garza short pitting has been very beneficial. He's shaved off a second and a half on Van Drugman's 12. If the 4-stop wins and the 3-stop doesn't, Adam Garza is going to dance with that 12 to victory.
You got to remember, Lamar, Van Drugman changed his strategy to be able to compete. So he's shown to be malleable in these types of situations.
This is going to be something.
Huff is in. Walker now the leader.
Frank Horley, 4th. Drew Jua in 2nd.
Only about 2 seconds separate both of them.
There's Basin. And 4th, does Basin try that strategy? Basin hasn't hit at all.
Let's hear him down. Nope. He's in the wall.
Nice. I think he's going to have to just focus on finishing the race.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting because if that 11 hits with the 22, let's be honest, Dylan Basin is, corner for corner a faster driver than Frank Orley. He started on pole of this event, had a pull off right away.
Well, let's hear, if he doesn't come down to pit this time, let's hear what he's doing down the front stretch and into 1. Because that's what the 22's doing, is you hear him getting off, entering into 1 and 3.
Driver inputs, left side of your screen.
100% throttle. No, he's not saving.
No, not even close. And then I guarantee if we go to Horley, well, he's a little bit back to the throttle. But
if he knows he can make it to the end of the run, no, he's still saving. Nope, don't even disregard what I was about to say.
This is going to be interesting. You may say, why don't we want to see this race? Why do we not want to see a caution? 400 miles, dominated by the 12. And here's 2 drivers that haven't led, I believe, a single lap, even under, no, Horley has 2 on the board, but hasn't led a single lap after the whole cycle.
It hasn't led straight up on speed. It's been the 12 straight up on speed all race.
Really getting ready to play the dividend in this entire race, in this entire strategy.
They played the long game around halfway on, maybe even before then. It was a smart play. Now, if it can play out the way they need it to, maybe we see the genius play out.
There's Aiden Walker. Jackson Buys.
Current leader there in the 93.
Drew Jua.
I will say Frank Horley is starting to catch Drew Jua. He's keeping him within eye shot.
What to do, what to do. Now, this is a point of the race where we kind of sit back and be race fans, right? We've been watching Drugman mainly all race long. He's 16 seconds back to the race leader. He's still double digits back to Drew Jua, Frank Horley.
Yeah, he's almost 2 seconds ahead of the 8
Here
now.
comes Basin. I think he's going to be making his way to pit road. So Basin out of the question unless he can magically make up 8 laps. He's going to be forced to go on a 4-stop strategy.
But a really short pit stop at the end, and maybe he can pick up a few spots.
Great comeback for him as well. Speaking of comeback, Braden Lovick, he's 13th for now, but once we see Walker, Drew, and Horley come in, he's going to be in the top 10 after an amazing start of, what was it, in the 30s, I believe?
Well, depending on where Basin comes out.
39th.
No, he's 39th, but depending on where Basin comes out, and I have a feeling he's not going to, maybe he'll be ahead. We'll see. There's a bit of a gap there between Mosteller, Bomar, and Lovick.
Definitely should, but from starting 39th and then making your way up that way is just...
So if those 3 pit and they're not ahead, Lovick will be 9th cycling out.
Insane. 30 spots. Can you believe that? All under green flag conditions.
For him and for Basin, you just got to think what could have been. If Basin doesn't have to come down, that's what opened the door for Van Drugman in a lot of ways. If Lovick was able to put up a qualifying lap and say he started 17th instead of 39th.
Right.
How much closer is he? So, but John, we're getting close to that number.
Getting close. 46 to go. Can you make up 6 laps?
You know what it'd be reminiscent of? 2011 Brickyard 400. Jeff Gordon dominated that race all race long. At the end, 5 drivers were really racing ahead of him. There was, of course, Get Hard for Paul Menard. There was Mark Martin up there. There was Trevor Bain. There were all these guys that just tried to make the strategy work. And all these guys like Jeff Gordon, among others, that ran up front could do nothing but watch that neon 27 Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing get the win. That could be what Van Drugman is seeing right now. He's looking up 15, 12, and 10 seconds ahead of him and realizing, oh my gosh, there's a caution. Who was it? And how did it happen?
And this will change most. Drew Jua, Frank Horley. It was Jackson Buys in 33.
This changes everything. 116 laps we went green. Let's see what happened.
Jackson Buys was running around Dylan Basin.
And leader, Hayden Walker.
Now when do you come to pit road?
Let's see what happened here first before we talk about strategy.
Basin at 11, Buys in 33. And the fuel lottery is out the door.
Contact from the 11.
Yeah.
Is that a caution?
No.
I was about to say that we had a harder hit earlier that wasn't a caution.
Well, that changes everything. Walker, Drew. And we will throw away the idea of a caution. It was 50-50 in the chat.
But the thing is, nobody can make it to the end outside of maybe the top 3, you know,
So now
on
what
one
do they
stop.
do?
Like,
are we still under a fuel lottery? I mean, do you wait till the one to go to come to pit road?
a lot of people could, but I don't see why you would take the penalty with it. I think everyone might come now. I don't know why the rest of the field wouldn't, because it's so close to make it. You probably have to save a little bit, but yeah, they're all coming in. So it shuffled up the field majorly.
There's some drivers out there that will stay out. Van Drugman, Adam Garza, Jacob Wilkerson, Sean Rowe. The first opportunity to speak to drivers all race. Let's see what they've got to say. And let's actually talk with, I kind of want to talk to Frank Orley. Orley, John Ramos, do you think you would have made it all the way if it went green?
It would have been close. Drew, I think, was in better shape than me because he pitted a lap later. But I was probably like half a lap short still. But
Okay.
I think either way, this caution does help.
Really?
Because now I do have track position. I'm fourth now.
Van Drugman will not be the race leader. It will be Walker. Drujua
Yeah.
jumps to third, and you're back and fourth.
Van Drugman took 2 tires, so he is, because we were ahead of him. But yeah, now this is probably going to be fuel mileage again, because this is right on the fuel window. So it's going to be really tight. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, now I have track
So
position,
what is the
so-
range? Because we said about 32 to 40. What is it?
Okay, so I'd say it's about 40 laps. It's about, I'd say, yeah, it's right about 40, and when we go green, there's going to be 41 to go. So,
Yeah. Okay. So
It's
okay,
gonna
the
be-
caution to destroy that.
Yeah, so there's still going to be some fuel strategy involved here. I actually should probably be saving gas while I'm talking to you. I'm not doing that right now. But, it would have been close. Drew was in better shape than me, though. So I think Drew got more screwed than me.
Well, interesting. I'm really curious. I guess we'll never know, right? If y'all would have made it to the end.
It would have been really close. I would have been, like, probably within a lap.
Wow.
Jeez.
So, nonetheless, though, here you are. One caution. This is the longest we've had a green flag run at Indianapolis. This beats 2022. You get the one to go here. Now what are we expecting? Because it's 43 to go. You just had one caution, and I think everyone's going to be very desperate here in a matter of moments.
This is a track position race. Like, I don't know. Because, like, you want to lead, yeah, because you get clean air, but also you're burning the most fuel. So it's kind of a high risk, high reward thing. If they have another caution and Walker's set, if there's not, he could be in trouble. So
Looking like 14th on back, by the way. Just pit this time by 2. So there's that to add into the fold.
they'll definitely be able to make it. We're gonna have to save because.
So Bomar,
I'm not giving up the track position. So
who were the ones on? Braden Lubbock was one of them. They elected to come to pit road.
if there's one caution, though, we'll all be able to make it. So.
That is true. So they're pretty much playing against the house.
Yeah, if the people that just topped off want their strategy to work out, this has to go green.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
That is Frank Corley. We'll drag him back to his chat. Things change quickly for the hardcore fans that wanted to see a caution-free race. Oh, we wanted to see it too, trust me. But with 41 laps to go, Drugman is not the kingpin. It'll be Aiden Walker leading us to green. Drujua, Frank Corley, that was playing the strategy right, most likely will now be back in position to try to win it strictly off speed. If we stay green, the rest of this race, fuel lottery is back in play for everyone that stayed out. Let's get ready to ride.
Add in, though, Garza, who was really fast, shuffled back to 7th through all of that. Wilkerson now ahead of him, so big shuffle through the pack because of that run.
Ford Chevrolet. If you've been watching since the beginning, we're so glad you're here, because someone's going to find victory lane, and you're going to see it. Drugman on the outside, Aiden Walker on the bottom, 41 to go in the Hoosier 400. Drujua inside, car didn't stick to turn 1.
Oh, he went around! Drew around into the inside wall! Hard!
Drops back, single car spin on a restart. He did make an impact to the inside wall, but the field thunders down the back straightaway.
The conga line moving back and forth. Now Van Drugman in an unfamiliar position, 2nd behind Walker. Walker trying to get a little bit of a gap, has about a car length. Vila gets up into Garza, who's up into the wall.
Eladon Contreras puts the nose in the fight. Van Drugman, we talked about how horrible that car is in dirty air, has led the majority of this race, and now behind the 8 ball of Aiden Walker.
Walker moving, trying to break that draft, entering one, gonna have enough of it. Keeps the lead, 40 laps left in this race. Horley right with him, Garza right on his backside.
And he's gonna have to wait because the whites of Adam Garza's eyes are filling the mirror of Frank Horley's 22. Drugman still stuck, 2/10 back. Can't make up the ground now. Gets in line, tries to make up the run, but the Knoxville native continues to lead a 3.
They just keep going back and forth, a couple tenths, couple hundreds, whatever it might be. The real battle is for third. Horley has Garza all over him, entering into 4.
Single file, Contreras, Horley, Adam Garza. Can he make the move on the Horley 22? You still have Vila back there in 5th. We watch now for the race lead because that 12 is still staying pace with pace.
Staying right with them, but again, it's so hard to make a move, and he's losing little by little. Now 2/10, the gap between the 93 and 12.
39 laps to go. Garza in 4th, Vila in 5th, Contreras in 6th. Oh boy, the post-race show is going to be fun on this channel to hear exactly what everyone thinks of what was, why, and how. Somewhat jostle for spots, but now we have our big 3 and big 4, a second in between each other.
Walker is starting to make up more and more time on Van Drugman. He looks mortal. He's in the wall again. We're seeing everybody up into the wall little by little. The Van Drugman has went from a 10th back to 2/10 to 3/10 and now nearly 4/10 back of that 93.
And they've now settled in. Aiden Walker setting sail. Garza P4 has dropped with a little bit of time. You still see the herd shuffling. Eladam Contreras to the back bumper of the Abraham Vila 1. Didn't work out, and here comes Jacob Wilkerson, who's been really conservative all race long.
Gets cut off there, 92 Contreras keeping that number 6 spot, trying to at least get the 5th spot maybe from Vila right in the back of that Crown Royal car.
What a save. Chase Carl deep in the field. You saw his 88 get a little bit out of whack. Now lines up all 4 tires, pointed in the right direction. 38, coming to 37 laps to go, and 2 drivers from Tennessee lead the way to turn 4.
Yeah, and it's Walker who's starting to gap that 12. Van Drugman gets a little bit on exit, but still, he's losing ground.
Now remember, they can't go the distance. So when do you start saving?
You got to try and get some kind of lead. Get out there so that you're having a one-on-one, or at least not as many as the full pack snarling right behind you. But remember, a couple of those like Bomar, Mavic, they can make it to the end of that strategy. Bomar, the leader in 12th. And there goes Garza. Garza now to the 3rd position. Gets past Frank Horley in the 22. Now he has to set sail and try and catch the 2 leaders. 1.2 seconds, 1.1. He is shown to have enough speed to keep up with the 12, but can he pass him? That's the question.
He's there. He's down to the inside.
He's got him. He doesn't. He crosses over. Can't make it happen this time.
Oh, Walker's just too good off the exit of the front straightaway. Was able to keep that rear bumper like a great wall. What's going to happen to turn 2? I think nothing.
Look what it's doing, though. Watch the interval with Garza. Now 8/10 the difference, 9/10, but under a second as these 2 battle back and forth to the grass.
Looks one way. Oh, almost got into the juke.
You can't open up the bottom. That's the biggest part. Get the entry in the corner, yes. Don't open up the bottom for Drugman, or he's going to go right past you.
Chevy on Ford. Only 2 manufacturers have won an e-ticket this year. Ford has won 3. They won the Florida 500, the Southern 500, and the World Grand Prix. Chevrolet, the Indiana 500, and the Alabama 500. Closest Toyota, not even in range of your view. 2 manufacturers, 35 laps to go, and maybe they can make it to the end.
Yeah, I think Van Drugman has to probably try and make this move soon. Garza is just chipping into that lead that these 2 have over him. He's getting way out ahead of Horley, but that 8 car has some power to it tonight.
And you can just see down the back straightaway. If these 2 get into it, Adam Garza is going to be licking his chops.
He might already be at this point. 7/10. Look how much closer he's getting. That 8 car is charging.
3 drivers in a bubble. Frank Horley has since led off. And we can kind of gauge with him on who is good and who is not, at least on fuel and speed alone. Let's listen in. Yeah, he's already letting off the throttle.
Might be the smart play. Charge when they're saving.
So Horley elects to save early. He does not believe we'll see a caution.
Now, of those that pit late, well, Mubik is the leader of that strategy in 13th.
Yeah, he's making up ground. Let's watch back there. Here's James Bomar in 14th. Mubik is going to catch right up to Max Steinmeier.
Haven't talked much about Steinmeier tonight. Solid 12th place run late in the going.
Mac is there. Gets underneath Zachary Trevino. Moss Steller, Dylan Basin. This actually puts Basin right back in the hunt, too.
Yeah.
Much needed caution for himself. A great bailout for him.
Trevino loses some ground. He goes to 13th. Mubik and Steinmeier pass him. Few lappers coming out of the pits. Drew Jula after that crash earlier on the restart.
Here we go.
Whoa! It looked like there was a... Whoa, look at Van Drugman right down low.
And Walker put the nose on him. Wheel to wheel, turn 3. Who's gonna bluff? Drugman entrance has the advantage. Can Walker switch it back? I think not, and Van Drugman has set sail as the race leader, coming to 32 to go.
At this point, try and get as much a gap as possible is probably his strategy. Then with that, at some point, with a certain amount of laps left, he's probably going to start saving.
Walker thought about getting back to it, but was well out of the throttle early. He's saving. So the 93 has to save the 8 machine on the scene.
It's a cat and mouse game between the leaders. Garza's going.
Garza's ready to go now, and you can see how much Horley has dropped back. Oh, they're clearly saving. The 22, the 1, the 43.
All in a draft together.
Where does this put Braden Mubik? He's back there with drivers that have yet to start hard saving. He has not found his way around Max Steinmeier's 23. So because of that caution, we thought the strategy of this race was blown up. I would say it's more reworked.
Under new management, if you will.
Under new management. And still with the 12 leading the way.
For that 8, he's wanting to stay right with them. You got to think Garza, if he can try and get that track position over the 12 or try and run him to the end a little more, maybe that might be the strategy he gets as he's up into second now.
12 versus 8, red versus blue. Walker allowed Garza to go on by. Knew there was no point in fighting if he was looking to experiment. I see Frank Horley. I see Abraham Vila. They're down the back straightaway. Ooh, a really tight lunge for Vila, and Horley's in the outside wall.
Oh, watch the merge, watch the merge.
Smacked it twice, crunches the right side.
That's all she wrote for Frank Horley tonight, I feel.
And a second e-ticket title may have to wait.
And Garza, while we were talking about that, we completely missed Garza took the lead.
How about it? Gets around Van Drugman, who is also saving.
Do you think maybe for Garza, the strategy is get as far out as possible and then just manage the gap the rest of the way?
If you do that and someone hunts you down one sideways, back straightaway, that's Frank Horley. Has dropped back to the 17th position. A single car spin off the racing surface. Another hit, that's Kenny Real.
Off
no
the racing
caution.
surface.
And this is going to spark controversy again in the chat. We already saw some people saying, how is that not a caution with Drew Jua?
It's been this way for years.
It's really been that, let's be honest, that caution. And we've had it called before in e-tickets, and we've all gone to admin chat said, who threw it? Because in agreement of not it being a yellow.
This is the meta. All right, this is how it's been. They don't have to get safety trucks out to them or anything like that. So,
and you know, I've used that line multiple times. 29 to go. Finnegan Myers.
He is a lap car, But maybe he's trying to unlap himself.
I would say so. He could do it.
I mean, what's he have to lose?
Adam Garza, the number 8, leading the way. I think back to February. I think back to when he was so close to that first e-ticket title, just right there. Right when you thought he was going to get it done.
A few times the NWP 400, he was up front, could have won. Just the right moves, wrong moves, whatever they might be.
And Zach Tondra gets to watch back at home again, going, is this it? Is this finally the time?
Myers all over his back bumper. But a buffer. Nearly a second now back to Van Drugman.
28 to go. Let's listen in. Jacob Wilkerson. And you see Walker saving and just forced Vila well out of the throttle. And I just love that Crown Royal one. One of the nicest schemes he has ever made.
Now in all of this too, you got to point out the guy on the strategy between Muvik and Bomar. Now Muvik in 10th leading that one. He can make it to the end based on what we've heard.
As quiet as Mosteller has been, there he is in 9th. 10th goes Braden Muvik.
11th goes Bomar.
Basin, Rowe, Contreras, Wilkerson. And then there's Abraham Vila.
Oh, car on the wall in the back. No crash. Now Rowe is going to play musical chairs with Contreras. He's up to 6th. Basin looks for a moment. Contreras shuts the door. This is 4th through 8th with 9th running right up on him.
Aladon in 7th. Sean Rowe in 6th. Wilkerson P5. And when does Garza hit the gas? I mean, we're looking at this right now. It's about 4/10 of a difference between Van Drugman and Adam Garza. So Garza is still putting a lot more work into it.
Yeah, but I'm just look at the interval. Walker has not let Drugman go. And now this group is catching up to those two.
Out of the top 4, 5, I believe, yes, out of the top 5, Aiden Walker has set the fastest time of 52.081. And that's by breathing out of the throttle. Where's Muvik? We're going to continue to watch him. Remember, he came to pit road right with the 1 to go.
Bomar, don't keep him out of this conversation either. Those two, for sure, can make it to the end if it goes green.
One caution race, started 39th. Has found his way up inside the top 10. And now needing the top 9 to fold.
They're all on top of each other now. Outside of the leader, Garza, who's just trying to run away.
And that's what he's going to hope for, right? Run away, run away, run away. 5 to go. Just hope no one has what it takes to get to him. But we know Van Drugman has speed. Now we know Aiden Walker has speed. We haven't seen too much out of Abraham Vila. A second the difference. Just Walker into second. Gets around him.
Oh, and they're crashing around Vila with them. 2, 3, 4 cars involved.
And the caution will wave.
Muvik's in it as well.
And with 25 to go, the most dominant driver has trouble in the closing laps.
At this point, we know they can make it to the end.
A third e-ticket title. Does it wait for Drugman? Is it repairable? There's a huge hit to the outside wall.
At this point, though, with that happening, the way they're all up front, this is Adam Garza's race to lose. This is his e-ticket to lose at this point. We know with this caution, these guys should be able to save. This is a dash to the finish now.
But there's one final boss I think he's going to have to worry about. We haven't seen much out of Dylan Basin because he had to pull the pit road right away.
I know he's up to
he's
5th.
At 5th. Let's watch the replay. And what all unfolded. Down the back straightaway, Aiden Walker, 93.
Nobody gave.
12.
Neither of them would give.
And Walker did push wide. I mean, you can't overlook that.
I don't know why Vila went around.
I think it was just more or less a reaction, and boom, man, just got the 42 at the last moment.
Oh, and everyone's pitting.
Let's go to pit road. We'll watch back on the replay again.
So this could be where you win or lose this race.
Garza, Wilkerson, Finnegan, Myers.
I'm wondering if anyone gets a little funny when it comes to strategies. Maybe 2 tires, maybe fuel only, splash and go. You're seeing quick stops. Here they come. Out of the pits, it's Wilkerson.
Oh boy, Garza second. Sean Rowe may have gotten third from Dylan Basin.
He gained a spot though. And Myers has stayed out and is the leader. The rookie with 23 to go, probably about, what, 21 to go at the green, is leading this race.
Wow. Zach Todriff has 4 cars in the top 6 for an e-ticket event.
He's going to be sweating bullets these last laps.
We're going to look back again to see what happened with Van Drugman. Let's get a word from him now. If we can, go ahead and get a word with him. Probably not the happiest knowing that e-ticket probably should have gone his way. There's an e-ticket he won that probably shouldn't have gone his way. And that's just the art of it all. You just never know till the championship comes down to it. Drew Jua, let's talk with him. He had the best strategy if that caution didn't come out. And right when we got in there, Drew Jua did go ahead and leave. So we're not going to be able to hear from Drew Jua. He was actually waiting for the interview. I think he did wait just long enough. Let's go ahead and watch back. Once again,
I want to see what happened with Vila here. So we know what happened with these two. Yeah, he just hit the wall.
wow.
Oh.
Insane. This is where they are now. There's Van Drugman on the track. Finnegan Myers, the race leader. Jacob Wilkerson. Drew Jua, John Ramos, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Had the strategy, went around, shoot turns 1 and 2. I think all in agreement that shouldn't have been a caution, yes, but when it happened for you, that spin, what exactly occurred?
Yeah, I was trying to get clear of Van Drugman. I knew he was really good. I didn't really had a chance to race in clean air, and cold tires got loose, pushing a little too hard, and we ended up spinning. We had the strategy to win there. Just unfortunate caution. I know it's tough being an admin. I'm not going to give the admin too much, but just unfortunate. Really wanted to win. Turning 22 tomorrow, so it would have been nice to win right before my birthday. So it's nice to be back in the e-tickets and looking forward to the NWP 400.
Indeed. Unfortunate situation for Drew Jua, but head held up high. Lights off. Will be 21 laps to go when we get back to the line.
We saw Myers earlier have a lot of speed. A lot of speed. Now it could be realized.
Only thing is, he's going to be on worn tires while everyone else on the freshies. What do you do?
Run like hell.
If you can.
If you can.
Pace car, hard left on the pit road. Virtual crowd rises to their feet. Toyota on the outside, Ford on the bottom. The restart zone, 21 laps to go in the Hoosier 400. Finnegan Myers to the outside. almost opened the door for Sean Rowe. He's able to pull away to the chute.
Wilkerson's clear up high. Has the ground to make up now. 2/10 the difference. And here comes Garza. The fastest guy left up at the front, at least we think.
Looks one way, looks the other. A rookie in contention to win an e-ticket event. The last to do it was Van Drugman. Garza and Wilkerson, that's second and third. Sean Rowe to the inside. Dylan Basin to the outside.
And he's going to make it happen up top. Basin up to fourth. Maybe realizing the full power of that car, the full speed it has, that got him the pole.
Riker Byram was blocking Horley all the way down to the inside wall. This is for the 14th, 15th position.
At this point, it's go time. 20 laps left in this race. Everyone can make it to the end. They can make it on overtimes, green, white checkers, you name it. Basin right there with the 8.
But Ken Finnegan Myers recently became a 6,000 iRating driver. Talked about it. Oh, there goes Austin around. Right in the middle of the field. Devins Baker hits the outside wall. Multiple drivers having to let off, and the caution will wave for a third time.
And Vila's wanting to spin again. And he does.
And he does.
It's a triple.
Abraham Vila is hit from the cycle in the Hoosier. And I think Van Drugman says that's enough for him. He is retired from the event. Devins Baker, everyone's favorite underdog. The only California e-ticket we had, he wanted to make it so badly, got bumped out. That was the California 500, he's 22nd, and Finnegan Myers goes, oh my, we got to do it again.
Yeah, but a few less laps that he has to play defense.
Wilkerson, Garza, and you allow Basin to get just ever so closer. Let's watch back. May have had help from Donskoy, that being Gavin Austin. Jeff Perchatsky, you saw him go up to the outside wall. He wasn't cleared the first time. The second time he was, and I don't think Yaroslav Donskoy, who's the only driver racing with the sun up right now, said that's not going to work. There's the damage on Van Drugman.
That's terminal.
And with 19 laps to go, so many hopes have been dashed. And the thing about Devins Baker is he races in a sim rig that moves.
Oh,
The
jeez.
seat moves, everything moves. Oh, that's... Oof. I hope he doesn't have a slip disc, because with that thing moving, that really just hit probably the right side of his body. So it's a lot harder for him to go ahead and deal with things, right? It's not just a setup. It's not a Logitech G29 on a desk. For him to have to avoid all that must have been one heck of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Motion rig.
Maybe if his back gets hurt, maybe he'll be like Connor Zilic and go on a generational run.
Let's go on for some interviews. Van Drugman, John Ramos, heartbreak in Indy.
I don't know what to say.
What all happened there?
That Aiden Walker just, got a bit jealous of the guy who he races Legends with. That passed him on a track where you really can't pass, and then went out and just fenced me. And then I came back down and then finished me off. And then there, I tried to avoid the wreck. I thought the 40 was going to go somewhere different, and then, nope, destroyed the car. I'm just... I don't know, man. This would feel like a prove it race to me, and I feel like I proved it, just I won't get any good light shed on it. Am I allowed to curse? Or is that like refrain from?
I mean, we can make an apology.
Yeah, I'm pissed off right now. Just like, oh my god, I want to break something like that's worth a lot of money right now. It's a shame. It's a shame, really. I race with this guy. I race with this guy all the time. And he said he was sorry, but like, dude, save it. Come on now. We have 25 to go. We're all saving fuel here. John, I should be here talking to you right now, just a bit later, talking about winning.
Really unfortunate. It really is. Van Drugman, you said this is a prove it moment. I think you proved it, but a third seat ticket is still very much possible right now. Very high hopes from the viewers. We're going to let you go, but we can't wait to see you in a couple weeks.
I'll try. I'll be here.
Van Drugman, very unfortunate what happened. He wasn't the only e-ticket driver that was involved in an incident. Braden Movick, John Ramos, the flu race. I hope it didn't get you even more sick with how that all transcribed.
Well, I now have a headache, I must say that. But yeah, it was going so well for so long, and now I'm dead. But that's e-tickets now for me.
Unfortunate. Abraham Vila, did you be able to watch the replay at all?
Oh yeah, I watched it. When he went to the inside wall, I was watching Van the whole time because he was in the short shoot grass, so I was just paying attention to him because I saw Vila against the inside wall, and then I cleared Van. That's why I was trying to shoot between Van and Walker, and I did that, and all of a sudden I just got cleaned out by the one. But then I looked at the replay. When he got to the inside wall, he hooked his wheels to the left and came back onto the track. So yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, we're gonna let you go. But
I went from last to 10th, John. Last to 10th on the first run. Or I say the first run, but yeah, the entire first 3/4 of the race. But we had a good car. I thought we were doing well. We were saving to the end. Me and Dimas were in the best position, and yeah, stuff happens. Wahoo.
Unfortunate for Braden Movick.
Yeah, I understand the frustration. He hasn't even got a top 10 this year in an e-ticket.
Wow. 16 to go. Finnegan Myers on the inside. Jacob Wilkerson on the outside. Adam Garza. Dylan Basin. Matt Green from Indy.
16 left. Meyer with a really, really good restart. Clear into 1 and 2. Garza, though, right with him.
Sun setting. Golden hour. Basin topside. That's a Sean Rowe. Should pull alongside Wilkerson. Not going to happen. Tried the switchback. Tried the other way around. And Garza's on the hunt.
2.5 tenths between them. Quarter second is the gap. Garza with a great restart that time. The battle for third, Wilkerson and Basin. Basin trying to power move on the high side, and he's going to make it happen.
Yes, he does. Basin up to third. What a comeback story it could be. What an underdog story it could be. Finnegan Myers, race leader, 15 to go.
Earned himself another 10th.
Deeper in the field, they're shuffling. Trevor Hoff, Frank Horley, Yaroslav Donskoy. And Riker Byram's able to slot just in front of the Chevrolet.
This battle here at the end of the top 15, half a second the lead. Myers is just gapping Garza.
But is he doing it on time trials? And does Garza think if he can just save a little bit more, things can go in his favor with maybe 5 to go instead of 15?
It might go more in Basin's favor. He's right there with them. 2 red and white cars battling, and that Alabama Crimson Tide is starting to rise.
Dylan Basin. If he gets around Adam Garza, it will be David versus Goliath in Indiana.
Whoa, man, what a block through there.
Celadon Contreras, Frank Horley sideways.
That was Huff involved in it as well. Riker Byram looking to take advantage.
14 coming to 13 to go. Here comes Dylan Basin.
In the wall, though. So he loses a ton of time there. And now Garza trying to chop into the lead of Myers.
Can the Tide roll in Indiana? Does Bud get a first-time e-ticket win, or does this rookie bring Ford their 4th in 2025? You know how many e-tickets Ford has won up to this year? One with Chad Thornquist in 2022. And they have just knocked off 2025 one after another. The 6th e-ticket event this year. They're looking for their 4th. Toyota's still searching for their 1st. Make it 2. Ford has won because that's right. At the end of 2024, they got a win with Michael Mitchum in Chicagoland.
But that gap is healthy and steady between Myers and Garza. Now back up to 7/10. He is just back and forth. Huge crash in the back. Byram, Barbagallo, everyone. That insult to injury for Moving. Joyner's in it.
And the caution will wave, I believe, for the 4th time.
We got the big one in Indiana.
David Joyner, heavy damage for him. This is playing into Finnegan Myers' place very well. The only thing is now Dylan Basin will jump to 3rd.
Do you take it 3 wide into 1? Do you have that low percentage move? Because if you do hit that percentage, you're going to look like a hero.
Caution. 13 to go. Let's watch back. Riker Byram was loose, left side of your screen, catches Christian Delgado, and plow goes the rest of the field. The first half of this race looked a whole lot different. Pit road will be open. We don't expect many takers.
Not at the front, at least.
And now we sit and wait again. Wilkerson in 4th. We were on track for this race to go pretty quickly. The pace has very much shifted, but so has the tides of the racing etiquette, the energy, the desperation.
No cautions to open up the first 3 quarters of the race. Now 4, and there's still 12 to go.
12 to go. David Joyner, Jeff Perchatsky, Connor Zola will go around. He'll get the wave. Let's go ahead and interview some drivers. Who's in this left side that we can talk to? No, can't speak to Dylan Basin. Moss Sellers in 7th. I'm really curious to hear what he's got to say. Demos, John Ramos, you got a copy?
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Hey, listen. You haven't really been overly relevant in this race, but you're in 7th. Talk about the whole near 400 miles.
Yeah, I spent like the first run of the race just trying to get a feel for this, because this is like the first actual race I've done since the updates and everything. But I was up to 6th at one point on like pure pace, and then the way the strategy worked, and then we got the yellow on like lap 120, and that mired me back behind a lot of cars that I shouldn't have been behind. And then I was really hoping it went green when we were all saving fuel, because I was right on my number, and I think everyone in front of me was starting to save too late in the run. But we got that yellow, and then everybody in front of me took 2 tires, and I'm on 4. And based off of some of the testing I did, 2 tires shouldn't work. So I'm really hoping that this goes green, and maybe I can get someone up there running.
Do you think it'll go green? You'll have 9 laps if it does.
I want it to, but I don't think it will. I think we're going a little pattern of everyone's excited. We're all bunched up for, first time. Everyone's still getting accustomed to the aero stuff and all that. So maybe if we get a couple laps down, but it doesn't look good for me right now. But we're gonna try.
Not too much left in the distance. Good luck.
Thanks, man.
That's Daniel Mosteller. Jarrett, we get 10 to go this time by.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. You know, it's going to be tough to beat whoever gets the jump on this restart.
Let's get ready to go back green flag racing. Finnegan Myers, Adam Garza, Dylan Basin. Line up for a thriller. Garza in second, Myers. How does he hold on? If he does hold on. Because Basin in that 11 has been really strong in times past.
Yes, he has. He's got to make a move early, though. You give anyone that ability to control the race, and it's going to take more laps than they probably have to get that move set up without a mistake.
Will be 9 to go here from Indiana. And someone's going to find victory lane. It'll be any of these drivers still left running on the racetrack. Van Drugme, you saw angry, disappointed, frustrated he was.
Rightfully so.
And now we get ready to wait. 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern. Late Sunday, near Monday.
Already getting the Mondays, are you, John?
I think so.
I'll hold off for at least 9 laps.
Did a long day setting this e-ticket up, but we get ready for a crazy finish. Let's see it all go down. Will be 9 laps to go from Indy. Underdog swarmed around veterans. Matt Green in the Hoosier 400.
Oh, you see that migration the entire bottom row had down there. Contact between Myers and Garza. He's going to stay with them on the high side.
Garza didn't lift. He has a nose to turn 2.
Keep that nose there, can he? He cannot. Myers is clear.
And Basin has advantage. That's to the inside. Dylan Basin trying to make a run. Loses momentum, and Garza will block the cover.
But he's clear. Wilkerson making the move on Basin. A tap. Can't make anything happen. Top 2 pulling away a little bit.
Will be 8 laps to go this time by. Adam Garza, he gets to the bumper. Goes well out of the groove. Myers doesn't have to lift. Garza holds up Basin. Whoa! Literally slams into the attenuator.
And they keep it going. Flying down. Myers now with almost a 4/10 lead. Contact. The 8 of Garza around. Wilkerson to second.
Up into the outside wall. Single car spin. It's out of the groove. They're going to keep this one green.
Mosteller on the wall. James Bomar has come up to the second spot.
It's a lot of Myers to get away. 7/10. They're still jostling. Basin in 4th. Sean Rowe back to 5th.
The question is, can any of these guys make that run up to the 00?
Single car incident. Nobody was near them. They let it stay green. And James Bomar is trying to hunt down Finnegan Myers. He's 6/10 back to do it.
Making up a little. Bomar getting away from this battle between Wilkerson and Basin.
Basin into Garza. No, check that. Into, I believe it's Wilkerson. Oh, starts blinking again. Just the issues he had earlier. Christian Delgado down and into the grass.
Out of the way, though. 24 around. That's Varus. And Gavin Austin with him.
Bow slide in the grass. Off the racing surface.
And out of the way. No yellow. Bomar chewing into that lead more and more. Basin keeping up with him.
And this is not over. And the thing is, Finnegan Myers, he's a young driver. His heart's got to be racing right now, right? What mistakes is he making that we just do not know? Look at Most to the inside of Wilkerson.
That was a good set of corners. Good lap for him. Bomar makes it all up. Loses it back again.
Basin in 3rd. 6 to go. The magic of Indy on full display. Here comes Rowe underneath Wilkerson. Couple Toyotas under a bubble. Can he make up half a second with 6 to go? And every driver, when they're so close to winning their first e-ticket, it's almost the same thing that everyone experiences. Your heart is smashing. The laps get longer. And in this case, Finnegan Myers does not want to see another caution.
5 laps left. That's all he's got to go in this race, which is an eternity at Indianapolis. Bomar and Basin trying to make that up. And here comes Mosteller. He said he wanted to see what he could have for these guys. He has fresher tires. Trying to make the move up there. Might be too late.
Bomar still 6/10 back. Can't stay within the line of Finnegan Myers in the 0-0.
This is why Mosteller's so good, though. Bestie's run all race, and it's right at the end when it matters. Coming around out of 4 this time by. Myers has about a half second over Bomar. And on top of that, he's got 10 miles left to defend.
Will be 4 to go this time by. Most to the outside of Basin. Four tenths the difference for Bomar.
Pins him down.
Oh, he's got it. Oh, he's got it.
He's charging.
And it is 8 tenths the difference. If he can make quick work of James Bomar, you could see the drive for 5 still alive.
Don't tug too much on Superman's cape or he'll swing back at you. And that is Daniel Mosteller winding it up here. Coming to 3 laps to go. He's in the 3rd spot and he is making up ground quick.
And here is the underdog leading the way. Half a second the difference. Bomar has been dipping his toes in the 4/10 range. Just has not been able to make up the deficit.
3 laps to go at the line. This time by Myers with about 4 tenths now over Bomar. Mosteller sticking with him.
Oh, his heart is racing.
Oh, and Mosteller is closing.
7 tenths. Wilkerson, Aeladon Contreras.
Solid runs out of both tonight.
And it's back to half a second with 3 laps to go. Looking good for the 0-0.
87's closing in on the 20. He's getting there. They're both getting there.
And you know who said should be in this e-ticket event? Braden Movick told myself and others Finnegan Myers deserves to be in this e-ticket. And look what he's doing with the opportunity.
2 laps to go. 4 tenths the gap again. He's going to gain a little bit more on entry there. The air is your
over
friend.
until it's over at Indy.
The air is your friend, though, as the leader. Use it.
Bomar on the wall. Mosteller will take advantage. Down into turn 3.
Doesn't have enough.
That's it.
And these two are starting to race among each other. That's going to just open up that lead more and more.
Finnegan Myers is going to try to do something very few have done before. 1 lap to try it at Indianapolis. From outcast to leading Salamanca. 1 to go in the Hoosier 400.
Down into 1 for the final time. Nails it down to the bottom. Mosteller all over Bomar. That might be just what Myers needs.
Today started off as a day where the veterans rise to the top. An uncertain caution, followed by uncertain events, allowed a driver that was so good at the start, up inside the top 5, top 6, to rebound after a costly mistake on pit road. He stayed out while others came to pit road. And when the wrecks happened and the battling happened in the mirror, Finnegan Myers elected to pull away. Did you ever think in late July you would see this 0-0 in victory lane? Finnegan Myers is a winner in the Hoosier 400. finds his first e-ticket title. And you know what? He was one of the final spots in. We said, who should get in? Who should get in? And Braden Movick said, Finnegan Myers needs to be added in. And we've heard of underdogs. We thought Van Drugman for the longest was. He ended up becoming a two-time e-ticket winner. Kai Collymore, when he won the Florida 500, I have never seen this much appreciation for an underdog winner in an e-ticket event, maybe since Dean Brummett's heroic victory in the NWP 400 back in 2023.
And you know what might have helped him win more than any other thing out there, any other move he made, any other strategy, anything else, is after that mistake. After those mistakes he had, where he was nearly a lap down, he stayed ahead of Van Drugman, stayed on the lead lap, stayed in contention.
History has been made, I feel like, every e-ticket this year. And here's a driver, you watch NR Night in America, and you look at the paint schemes. You say, Finnegan Myers, I don't know who designed that, but it doesn't look the best. And so many look down on him, and this year, something just clicked. He became so much better behind the wheel. He made smarter decisions, and a couple weeks ago, what was the difference between him watching this back at home and racing? His race in Atlanta, if he wasn't in the top 5, he wasn't in consideration. And then we said, Finnegan Myers, he may have to be in the next e-ticket event. And then when past e-ticket winners said it's time for him to be added, rose the occasion. Opportunities sometimes don't knock more than once. And when the door knocked, that 00 allowed it to be wide open. Finnegan Myers burns it down across the yard of bricks. Let's talk to your race winner. I think this should be a fun interview. Finnegan Myers, from not sure if you were going to be racing to victory lane. Congratulations. And we can't hear him just yet. Believe he is muted. But unbelievable how this all went down. Myers, John Ramos, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you loud and clear.
How about that one?
Oh man, what a roller coaster of a night. Our debut in the series, and we had a good start to the race, some rough stuff in the middle, and then just executed perfectly at the end. And I don't know how I held on to it the way I did, but that was so much fun. Thanks to all those guys for running me clean, and it was a really good race.
Some are saying you put more hours in this event than anyone. Is that true?
Hey, I've been at every test, and that's when I tested. So I put some time into this one for sure. I like Indianapolis.
What about the testing offsite, right? The private testing. But we're hearing that you put more hours really than anybody, which is amazing to show that practice in some cases makes perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't do a ton of practice, but I've ran a lot of laps at Indianapolis in the past year. Not specifically for this, but just in general. I'm a fan of the track, and really cool to have it finally show off.
And that 00 is all yours. Let's talk about it. You came to pit road, right? You spun. Not spun, excuse me. You sped on pit road. And it looked to cost you. It looked like we were going to go caution-free. And then finally, lightning struck. What was the strategy like for you to get back up front?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. We started 4th, ended up 4th or 5th most of the runs. I thought the last 10 laps of the run, every single run, the last 10 laps, I thought we were the fastest car. We were able to make passes and start really, really gaining. Even on Drugman and some of the guys up front, we had a really good long-run car. Yeah, came down pit road. I believe the 2 car came out underneath of us, and I was trying to get to my box, and I guess I sped. I wasn't paying attention, trying to make sure we didn't get contact with him. And yeah, I thought, just like you, I thought we were done. So I came out ahead of the leader. I stayed on the lead lap as long as I could, and then I knew I was back in 17th. I was faster, but we just couldn't pass. So I knew I had to do something different. So came down pit road, just about spun, getting off of pit road, trying to stay ahead of the leaders, but got my lap back, stayed out, and then just defended from there.
Interesting stuff after interesting stuff. And just the final couple laps, what was that like behind the wheel?
That's the most, I tend to be pretty calm when I drive, but that's the most nervous I think I've ever been, just making sure they couldn't get the draft on the straightaways. I knew the dirty air was going to be bad. We've known that. You've watched the race. It's very hard to pass. But, I mean, I think we were on a 15-plus lap tire deficit, so I really didn't know what was going to happen, especially on that last restart when we ended up side-by-side. I really didn't know what was going to happen, but we ended up getting the lead, yeah, and then just kept driving away and ended up with the win.
What do you want to say to the viewers watching back at home?
Thank you to all of you for showing up. I hope we put on an absolute show. I know there's a lot of single file there, but I hope we put on a good show. Thank you so much to Battleborn and Raised, Edmonton Motorsports, Detour Sunglasses, and Holy City for sponsoring the car. We proud to put them in victory lane.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Finnegan Myers is an e-ticket winner in 2025, and he had to hold off the driver that finished in second that has done it so many times. Daniel Mosteller, P2 today, but what a comeback from a race that looked to not go your way with the first 100 or so laps.
Oh yeah, man. I felt like for the first 100, 30 laps, my strategy was absolutely awful, but I made a great call to take 4 tires there at the end, and it, as I told you, it definitely paid off, but I just needed some more laps. I think if I had maybe one less yellow, I think I could have gotten up to Finnegan, but I took too much time getting through everyone. I was just a little too far back to give him a chance.
Insane. You got around Bomar. Hey, you've won these events before, you know how it is, but finishing second to Myers, what did it feel like for you?
Oh, I'm happy for him. He's gotten a lot of trash talk from everyone about stuff, but he made a good strategy call to stay out. And it worked out for him. He did a good job holding everyone off. People will probably, say that, it was all luck, it was all strategy, but there's a driver there that's driving the car and has to execute the strategy, and you got some really good drivers behind you, like Garza, Wilkerson, a lot of other people, so it's not easy. So
I don't think it's luck beating Basin or Mosteller.
Yeah, but he did a good job. It wasn't like he ran bat the whole race. He was running in the top 5 for most of the race until the penalty. So it's not like he was like running 30th on pace and lucked into it. He was a contender the whole time.
And I'm going to actually put this to Jarrett in a moment. I think all 3 of our underdog e-ticket winners, one has become not an underdog, almost got his 3rd e-ticket win possibly tonight. All 3 of them are running up front when they won. Kai Collymore, Daytona, did not leave the top 10 at all. Van Drugman, top 5 the entire race. And for Finnegan Myers, I mean, he was top 5 most of the day until that one mistake of him coming to pit road.
Yeah, that's true. All of them ran up front, and they showed speed too. When Finnegan Myers was about to go a lap down, he was outrunning Van Drugman to stay on the lead lap and passing a bunch of cars as it went. He just needed that luck.
Wow. And if I'm not mistaken, where did Mosteller finish in the Florida 500? Did he finish 3rd? Okay, so
I finished 3rd.
For a second I was about to say, if you finish 2nd in that one, and you finish 2nd to Kai and Myers, and you've won 2 e-tickets this year, my goodness, what a year you're having. In case 3rd at Florida, still 2 e-ticket titles and a P2. You're heading into the NWP 400 with the highest momentum out of anyone. What is your outlook? Because I think that's the last trophy you truly want to be added to your virtual case, because I mean that is the big daddy in the summer.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of great momentum to come off of the back-to-back from Alabama and Indiana, and to finish 2nd here with a car that I'll admit I feel like I struggle a lot compared to some other people, and it's on an intermediate, which I tend to struggle with in these e-ticket events. So to get a 2nd place, albeit on a little bit of different tire strategy, it definitely feels good. As you said, a lot of great momentum heading into NWP in a couple of weeks.
Indeed. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Daniel Mosteller, P2. We're going to go ahead and grab James Bomar. Bomar being P number 3. A great bounce back for that 20. Matter of fact, James Bomar, before you speak, paint scheme of the event, congratulations.
Is it working? Yeah, well, thank you.
I was about to say he's He's speechless that he just won paint scheme of the event. Bomar, John Ramos, you got a copy. Oh, I think his microphone is having issues.
It probably. Can you hear me?
There we go, loud and clear. How are you?
Tired.
Tired indeed. P3 though, I think this is your best finish in an e-ticket.
It is. I didn't get wrecked once, so I finished up front.
Talk about that run. Hey, there was one point you hit the outside wall. You almost had P2 in the bag.
I don't know. I don't know where that run came from, but I got around the top of everybody, got to second, and I was trying my hardest to get to Finnegan, and it was dirty air, and I ended up just hitting the front hard.
Very unfortunate indeed. It's a little bit tough to hear, James Bomar, but we'll ask you this. Are you ready for NWP?
Yes.
Indeed. Congratulations on P3.
Thank you.
Finnegan Myers was rejected by Rev Racing just a couple weeks ago to on top of the e-ticket world in 2025. Jarrett, we're going to go through the rundown before we hit post-race. This is just an unbelievable run, an unbelievable finish. Race just kept changing from one instance to the next. Finnegan Myers goes to victory lane. Mosteller and Bomar, that's the top three.
Basin, 4th place after having to basically pull it off right after the start. Still solid comeback. Sean Rowe, great showing for him. Contreras, 6th. Then Wilkerson, Steinmeier, Huff, and Donskoy, the top 10.
And we'll continue to read them all down. Zachary Trevino, Frank Corley, Devins Baker, how about it? Oh my goodness, 13th, yes. That is something to celebrate right there. Connor Zola, Dominic Barbagallo, top 15. Aiden Walker with David Joyner, Jeff Perchatsky, Gavin Austin, Zayden Cortines, a huge underdog story for the 13th place finish.
Vila in 21st, then Bice, Muvik, a disappointing 23rd in this. Garza back in 25th, right between them is Varis. Delgado, Acevedo, and McKinney. Then Byram and Kral, the top 30.
And we'll continue to read them on down. Nathan Dew, 31st. Derek Shaver, 32nd. Van Drugman, Kenny Reel, Drew Jua make up 35th. Gavin Austin, Spencer Burns, Carlos Truther, Jacob Malone, and Mitchell Armstrong round out the top 40 with Jaden Hall finishing in the 41st position. 31 e-tickets down, and we get ready to look forward to what is to come. We'll also go over what we saw here tonight. I think we've got a lot of questions, and the cool thing about our post-race show is we really don't have too many barriers to reach on, right? We're both content creators. We say it kind of how it is. Jared, I want your take on that first 100-lap run.
I was in awe. I mean, this is the best run, I think, as a broadcaster I've seen them ever put on. It's the longest green run. It probably should have been a caution-free race if we're just calling a spade on it. Like that this race was damn near perfect from first down to 41st for the first 75% of the day.
Indeed, it was lot for lot. This should have been a caution-free race.
Yeah,
we all know it should have been a caution-free race. Drew Jua believes he could have won that race. Van Drogman still believed he could have won that race and went caution-free, so it was going to be an interesting run to the finish, but it didn't end up that way. Unfortunately, in Mo's eyes, right, the caution came out. Drew Jua spins, still not a caution in our book. A couple other, I think the closest one that probably could have been a caution was Garza spinning from being up as the race leader. That just was not called. That was probably the closest one that, in theory, could have been called because we weren't on a restart, and he could have been in the racing group. But what happens? Van Drugman dominates. He's still strong after the caution. He's still racing his heart out. After the caution, him and Aiden Walker get into it, and yikes. Both drivers that race in the same class at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway clash in the sim world.
It's going to be fun to see when they meet each other in person again.
Live on Racing America and Track TV.
We talk about low percentage moves, and it went from a normal move to a low percentage move like that.
Like that. And then, restart after restart, Finnegan Myers elects to stay out, which ended up being the race-winning move. Drivers started jostling and shoving into each other. It's an underdog win, but once again, another underdog that was running up front. When we put that entry list out, take a look at every name, because we may say we think this guy's going to go to victory lane, and Van Drugman was my pick. It was looking like he was going to be the pick for the first 120 or so laps, And then, just like in baseball, which I know we can't compare stick and ball sports, but I think I do it the most, just like in 24-hour races, just like in 600-mile races, what's going to happen that turns this race upside down, and who's ready for it? Unless they're the catalyst, or unless they're the caveat, unless they are the impact point that changes the trajectory of the timeline. In this case, Finnegan-Myers got through, and Van Drugman didn't.
Well, and this feels like, again, like when Van Drugman won his first e-ticket. This isn't just a one-off that's like, oh, yeah, that's a nice story. We'll never see him again. It doesn't feel like, oh, well, you know, it's a super speedway. They can't race well anywhere else. This feels like somebody who has established himself into the community as a mainstay in NR, as a mainstay in these e-ticket events. And that doesn't happen as often as one would think.
No, and I'm going to say it again. How did this all go down? One more driver to choose. Who's it going to be? A couple big names. I'm not going to say who they are. They said Finnegan-Myers doesn't need to be in there. He's not ready yet. Okay, maybe NWP went in 62, but really? Indy? And Braden Lubbock went in and said, I want Finnegan-Myers in this event. You're going to laugh because I'm going to say it quote for quote. I want Finnegan-Myers in this event to show him how bleep, he truly is. And his 6,000 iRating is inflated. The balloon inflated to victory lane because 6,000 iRating was doing donuts after 400
It floated away. It was higher than anyone else tonight.
Indeed, and that's how it all went. A storybook finish in Indianapolis. You had your drama, you had your controversy. Sounds like an e-ticket event, which means we got to look forward to our blockbuster event, Jarrett. Yeah. It's that time of year again.
It is officially NWP season. It's NWP month. We're ready to go for the NWP 400. The main event, August 17th, Sunday night. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Prime time, baby. Not a night with a NASCAR race. Richmond's the night before. And then Tuesday, that week leading up, we have Fast 4 qualifying. Then the two 50-lap duels, the 125s, and the LCQ, harkening back to the old school clash, 20 laps, winner take all. It's the only e-ticket event that is winner take all with the money, and it is the biggest jackpot to win all year.
It's going to be an absolute blast. To the top fans in the chat, who won? The top fan, Eric W., 400 XP. Sputtermouth second with 300. Harvick to win with 300 as well, but Sputtermouth got out in front. And Mikey Duche with fourth, with Cito Brown being fifth. Thank you guys so much for being the most vocal in the chat. I'm so happy they added that because now I can thank the ones that have been the most vocal. I want to say thank you to Life Opposite for dropping a $1 super chat. New admin fund from Eric W. after the $2 super chat. I think a lot are very much in agreement. You know it's pretty bad when the booth gets in agreement too. Live.
Yeah.
Someone did you? I think I got quoted. You said, "Is that a caution?" I went, "No." So I did get quoted on that. Eric W. sending 5 gifted memberships. We're going to have icons updated for NWP. David Bell with the hot pass. Gary with the hot pass. Eric W. with the 1. Sputtermouth with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a Champions Club membership. So thankful for that indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, Thursday I was driving home from Owasso Speedway thinking to myself, how the heck are we going to get this event in? And now it's Sunday night thinking to myself, oh my goodness, we got the event in.
Yep.
Ready to do it all again. We'll see you all really soon. Area live tomorrow night at 8:45 Eastern, 7:45 Central. Jarrett, NWP, what channel?
Danny B's channel this week. Danny B Talks will be live 8 p.m. Eastern time. Plenty to go over from Dover, even if you don't. We'll keep Dover out of it. How about that? I know people have a lot of thoughts.
This has been the Hoosier 400. I'm John Ramos alongside Jarrett Lubberg saying good night from Nashville, Tennessee.